Young Luo Xiu, who came from a humble background and had average talent, unexpectedly fused the essence of the law of life and death into a treasure. From then on, he hid the life and death wheels of various heavens, took charge of reincarnation, created the supreme divine power, and achieved a great emperor, proud of both ancient and modern times keywords of the novel. Wudao Da帝no pop-ups, Wudao Da帝TXT complete collection download, Wudao Da帝latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Life and Death Beads. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In each state, county, and city of Tianwu Kingdom, there is a martial arts hall established. As long as one is 10 years old and has the qualifications to practice martial arts, they can become students of the martial arts hall and practice martial arts. These martial halls were created by the sect that controlled a certain county, with the aim of selecting outstanding talents for the sect and enriching the fresh blood of the younger generation. Yunlong County, Qingyun City Martial Palace. Hiss. Awakening from his slumber, Luo Xiu took a deep breath of air conditioning and felt the piercing pain emanating from his body. Immediately after, Luo Xiu seemed to have thought of something terrible. He quickly reached out to touch his chest, opened his collar, and exclaimed in surprise, "Is the pearl missing?" This scream triggered the injury of his fractured rib in the chest, causing him to grimace in pain. Luo Xiu frowned and recalled what had happened before he fell into a coma. He remembers that Lu Yusin, whom he had always been secretly in love with, was entangled by the notorious playboy Zhang Hao among the students of the martial palace. At that time, his mind was also hot and he rushed forward. As a result, it goes without saying that Luo Xiu was severely repaired by Zhang Hao and the people around him, seemingly to show his strength in front of Lu Yusin. He hit him hard and knocked him out on the spot. Before falling into a coma, Zhang Hao stomped on his chest with a powerful and heavy kick, causing his ribs to break on the spot. The bead, which was tightly held in his arms, was also crushed and embedded in flesh and blood. Then, the bead slipped into his body with a thud. Luo Xiu came from an ordinary commoner's family, with both parents being ordinary people without martial arts training qualifications. There is also an older sister in the family, and his daily livelihood relies on his father, Luo Songlin, entering the mountains to collect herbs. That pearl was picked up by Luo Xiu's father when he was very young. It was black and white, crystal clear, and very beautiful. Whether it was summer or winter, the skin and the pearl would have a faint warmth when in contact, so it was his favorite toy when he was young. Even as he grew up, he kept it close to his chest. But at this moment, this bead is missing. Did you really get into my body? Just as Luo Xiu was lost in thought, his head suddenly swelled violently, as if his skull was about to explode. Boom! As if it were a severe tremor of the soul, then the darkness fell before Luo Xiu's eyes. He felt like he was appearing in a dark and hollow world. What is this place? Originating from fear of the unknown, this phenomenon that goes beyond one's own cognitive scope makes Luo Xiu extremely nervous. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the dark space, which was a pearl scattered with black and white brilliance, crystal clear, mysterious and mysterious. Luo Xiu recognized at a glance that this bead was his favorite toy from childhood to adulthood. Immediately after, without waiting for any reaction from Luo Xiu, Zhu Zi suddenly flew towards him and collided with his body, merging with him. At the same time, a massive amount of information emerged in his mind. I don't know how long it had been, but Luo Xiu, who had fainted in the room, opened his eyes. He could clearly feel a slight throbbing in his soul, and he also sensed that the bead was inside him, as if it had merged with his soul. The precious life and death pearl, the 8 wastelands in the universe, the myriad realms of the heavens, and the billions of living beings. What kind of chaos are these? The additional memories in his mind almost drove Luo Xiu crazy, but they were also full of mystery, giving him some kind of enlightenment. After a long time, he gradually calmed down and sat cross-legged on the bed. With a movement of his mind, he thought of another self in his mind. However, this self in his mind was connected by veins emitting faint white light, covering every part of his body. And these white light veins, based on the enlightenment he gained from the precious life and death pearl, are called life veins. The life veins are connected to each other, forming a life vein diagram. By observing his own life cycle diagram, Luo Xiu discovered that there were multiple life cycles in his body that were much dimmer than those in other areas. And these dim veins of life are the injuries he suffered when he was beaten by Zhang Hao and others. These injuries are very serious. At least for Luo Xiu, who is practicing twice, if there is no good healing pill, it will take at least more than a month to recover, and he will also leave behind hidden wounds in his body, affecting his future martial arts practice. As long as the internal qi is used to repair the dim areas in the life cycle diagram, the injury can be restored. The information that emerged in Luo Xiu's mind made him somewhat incredulous, completely beyond his understanding. Whether it's useful or not, give it a try first. With this in mind, Luo Xiu sat cross-legged on the bed and began to practice the technique. His cultivation was to cultivate the body twice, and the internal energy was stored in the skin and flesh. With the operation of the technique, the internal energy began to circulate in the meridians of the body. He felt immersed in a mysterious situation, where his internal energy transformed into a strong vitality, and the serious injuries throughout his body quickly began to recover. In Luo Xiu's contemplation, the many dim places in his life network gradually became clear and bright. Is this the mystery hidden in the precious life and death pearl? By directly repairing the veins of life, the injuries on the body can be automatically restored. This is also amazing. Luo Xiu was deeply shocked by the changes that had happened to him. The mysterious life and death pearl merged with him, seemingly giving him a special ability to transcend the secular world. If the human body is injured, the veins of life will be damaged. When the injury is repaired, the veins of life will also be repaired, and vice versa. With a leap, Luo Xiu got off the bed, and the broken rib in his chest had healed without any pain. He moved his body for a while, and surprisingly, all his injuries have truly returned to their original state. Although my internal energy has been depleted, I am already a dual cultivation of refining my body, and can only accumulate a small amount of internal energy in my skin and flesh, which will quickly recover. Luo Xiu checked his body. This time he sat cross-legged on the ground, intending to first use the technique to restore the depleted internal energy. During the process of practicing martial arts, it is natural to imagine one's own life meridian diagram in the mind, and the path of internal qi running through the meridians is clearly visible. There are 9 levels of martial arts, from 1st level to 9th level, divided into martial arts and techniques. The higher the level of cultivation, the more meridians and acupoints are involved in the internal qi movement, and the better the cultivation effect. If the level of cultivation is lower, it is the opposite. Luo Xiu only came from an ordinary commoner's background and practiced the lowest level of first-class martial arts, involving only a few meridians and acupoints in his body. He entered the martial arts hall at the age of 10 and has been practicing for 3 years, but has only reached the 2nd level of body cultivation. It can be seen how poor the cultivation effect of first-class martial arts techniques is, and as far as he knows, some peers with superior family backgrounds have reached the height of 5 or even 6 levels of body cultivation when practicing high-level martial arts techniques. In Luo Xiu's understanding, he only knew the first 3 realms of martial arts cultivation, namely the refining body realm, the qi-si realm, and the innate realm. Each realm was further divided into 9 levels, implying that martial arts cultivation is like climbing the 9 levels of heaven, with each step becoming more difficult. The cultivation realm is a martial artist, and only those who reach the qi-si realm are true martial artists, while the innate realm is called a martial artist. Martial disciples like him in the dual realm of refining their bodies belong to the bottom part of the students in the martial arts hall. In the eyes of those disciples from aristocratic families, they are useless and lowly. Suddenly, Luo Xiu's attention was drawn to the life cycle diagram he had envisioned in his mind. An idea seemed like an instinctive trend, making him feel that perhaps the path of internal qi movement could be improved and optimized. The cultivation level of the dual cultivation of refining the body was very low, so Luo Xiu quickly regained the lost internal energy. However, the thoughts that arose in his heart could not be dispelled. All his attention was immediately drawn to the life meridian diagram he had envisioned in his mind. With a movement of his mind, the movement of qi within the cultivation method changed the course of the meridians in the life meridian diagram according to his ideas. Unconsciously, it was originally only a first-grade internal skill involving a few meridians and acupoints, with more and more meridians passing through, far exceeding the scope of first-grade techniques. Puff. Suddenly, the life diagram in his mind collapsed, and Luo Xiu woke up from that mysterious state. The root was wrong earlier, that's why the life cycle diagram collapsed, Luo Xiu muttered to himself in contemplation. Meridians and acupoints are crucial for martial arts cultivation, especially when practicing internal skills. If there is a slight mistake, it can cause damage to the meridians, and in severe cases, the meridians may break and become useless. It is even normal for one to become demonic and die directly. The martial arts techniques that have been passed down to the world have been confirmed to be correct and without any problems. No one dares to change the operation route of the techniques rashly, otherwise it is easy to make a big mistake, and it is too late to regret it. Luo Xiu was also well aware of this, so he did not personally experience and try it out. Instead, he imagined the life meridian diagram in his mind, and with the insight of the life meridian, he knew every meridian and acupoint in the human body as well as tried to improve the luck route of the martial arts. Although the life cycle diagram collapsed due to a mistake in the end, the original first-level internal skill has also been improved by him, becoming more complex than the route recorded in the first-level internal skill he has been practicing, and the effect of cultivation is bound to be much better. With a slight frown on his brow, Luo Xiu touched his chin and muttered to himself, the starting point of the first-level internal skill itself is poor, so even if I improve it, it will be limited. I don't know how effective I am currently practicing this skill. At this moment, Luo Xiu firmly believed in the enlightenment he had gained from the life and death pearl, and immediately began to operate the improved martial arts. The vitality of heaven and earth seeps into the body through the limbs and pores, and under the operation of martial arts, it condenses into internal energy, which is refined and stored in the skin and flesh. Refining the body 9 times, the first 3 times refining the skin and flesh, containing a small amount of internal energy. The 4th to 6th times refining the muscles and bones, 7 times refining the internal organs, 8 times refining the blood, and 9 times refining the bone marrow. After a long time, Luo Xiu opened his eyes and felt refreshed all over. He could feel the internal energy in his flesh between clenching his fists, which was a bit stronger than before. But in the past, the same cultivation time would not have such a significant effect. The improvement of the martial arts has been successful. Luo Xiu was both surprised and delighted. Not only that, Luo Xiu also found that the internal energy he was cultivating now contained a majestic and abundant vitality, while hiding the aura of death and destruction. The two extremes of life and death. Inspired by the precious life and death pearl that merged with himself, Luo Xiu knew that his fate in life began to change. Chapter 2. Raise your eyes and exhale. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, after practicing all night, Luo Xiu slowly opened his eyes, not only without any fatigue, but also with a lively spirit. Perhaps the cultivation speed for the past 3 years has been too slow, causing his body to be extremely thirsty, almost greedily devouring and absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. The overnight cultivation effect is very obvious, and it won't be long before he can break through to the triple cultivation of body. Moreover, after accidentally fusing the life and death beads, Luo Xiu realized that his physique was also influenced by the two extremes of life and death, and during the cultivation process, it would undergo a transformation like transformation. Pushing open the door and walking out, Luo Xiu went to the martial arts arena of the martial palace. Many students from the martial arts hall wake up early in the morning to practice diligently on the martial arts arena. Many people have strange expressions when they see Luo Xiu appearing here. Didn't he fall into a coma yesterday when Zhang Hao led someone to beat him up? I heard this kid likes Lu Yusin. When he saw Zhang Hao pestering Yusin, he rushed up to save the beauty as a hero. Just him. He's just a poor kid from a lowly background who doesn't pee to take care of himself. The toad wants to eat swan meat. Lu Yusin is the daughter of the Lu family. How could she possibly take a liking to such a lowly person? I don't know where the sky and earth are. Along the way, Luo Xiu heard a lot of such ridicule. If he didn't get angry at all, it was impossible, but after being beaten yesterday, he knew very well that he had no strength and had no right to refute. Since the cultivation method can be improved, martial arts is also a way of internal qi circulation. I wonder if it can also be improved. In a remote and deserted corner of the martial arts arena, Luo Xiu took a deep breath to calm his mood. Pop. I saw a sudden movement in his figure, spreading his posture and practicing a set of boxing techniques. He used every move with a wide open and close motion, swinging his fists with a strong wind. This set of martial arts techniques, called Mangniu Fist, is a first-class martial arts skill and the only martial arts skill he cultivates. Because the Qinyun City Martial Arts Hall will not teach martial arts for free, there are only two ways to obtain the inheritance of martial arts. One is to spend money to purchase, and the higher the level of martial arts, the more expensive it is. The lowest level of first-class martial arts also costs 100 taels of silver. There is another way, which is to reach a certain level of martial arts cultivation and enter the library of the martial arts hall to choose higher-level martial arts. The first level of martial arts practiced by Luo Xiu was bought for money. For an ordinary commoner's family, purchasing martial arts would consume almost all of their savings. Not everyone can practice martial arts on this day. More than half of the people do not have the qualifications and talents to practice martial arts. For ordinary people, practicing martial arts is the only way to stand out. Therefore, from the day they enter the martial arts hall at the age of 10, Luo Xiu has been the hope of the entire family. During the process of practicing Mangniu Fist, the life cycle diagram emerged in Luo Xiu's mind, revealing the internal qi movement route of the entire boxing technique. Sure enough, martial arts can also be improved through the deduction of the life cycle diagram. After trying, Luo Xiu was pleasantly surprised to find that his idea was indeed feasible, and his mood was uplifted and excited. Up. He stepped out, his fists roared, his fists were like the horns of an ox, and he hit the wooden dummy in front of him fiercely. Bang! With a sound of explosion, the chest of the wooden dummy was cracked by his fist, and the wood chips were flying. The wooden dummy in the martial arts arena of the martial arts hall is made of black iron wood. Without the strength of triple cultivation, it is absolutely impossible to damage these wooden dummy. However, Luo Xiu's cultivation level at this moment is still the second level of physical cultivation. Although the triple training can destroy the wooden dummy, it can never achieve this effect. At least the quadruple training can do it. Looking at the effect he had created with satisfaction, Luo Xiu's eyes lit up. Does this not mean that even against a martial arts disciple who was refining his body 4 times, he can still fight? After improving my martial arts and techniques, my strength has increased so much. Luo Xiu became more confident in his future martial arts cultivation. Get out of here. Everyone is blind. Don't you see Zhang Xiaolai? The sound of arrogance came from the martial arts arena, and Luo Xiu looked up and saw several playboys swaggering around. Along the way, many people swallowed their pride and dared not resist. Among these playboys, there was a young man in a luxurious robe surrounded in the middle. Seeing this person, Luo Xiu couldn't help but suddenly clench his fist. Shout out, isn't this the lowly commoner surnamed Luo who dares to appear here? Suddenly, a loud and unrestrained laugh came, with sarcasm, ridicule, and disdain in his words. This sentence came from the mouth of the young man in brocade, and at the same time, some martial arts students who were practicing nearby also looked towards this side. This young man in brocade is Zhang Hao, who comes from a wealthy family and can be said to be one of the bullies among the students of the martial palace. Yesterday, it was because Luo Xiu saw him entangled with Luo Xiu that his mind was hot and he rushed to theory. Then, he was severely beaten by Zhang Hao and his people, especially when the other person stepped on and broke his rib. Luo Xiu's memory is still fresh. That time, Zhang Hao spoke harshly and would hit Luo Xiu every time he saw him. So when he saw Luo Xiu in the martial arts arena, he rushed straight towards him. I don't know if you're a lowly kid, but Luo Xiu is also someone you can think of. If you're afraid of being beaten, kneel down and beg for mercy. Maybe I'll spare you once, young master. Zhang Hao pointed at Luo Xiu's nose, looking aloof. Luo Xiu stared at Zhang Hao in front of him without saying a word. As far as he knows, Zhang Hao's cultivation is a martial artist in the 4 realms of body refining. He is not afraid of the other person when he doesn't speak, but is considering whether he can defeat this guy. If possible. I will definitely hit so hard that I can't even recognize your mother. Luo Xiu clenched his fist. Damn it, kid, you're mute. Zhang Xiao's talking to you, didn't you hear him? A servant behind Zhang Hao strode forward and slapped Luo Xiu's left face. These playboys have always been so arrogant and arrogant. The person who took action against Luo Xiu is called Li Hai. He comes from an average family, but knows how to follow the crowd and hang out behind Zhang Hao's back all day. Yesterday, he beat Luo Xiu, and this guy also participated. A lowly person is a lowly person, born with lowly bones. Zhang Xiao gave you the opportunity to kneel down and beg for mercy. Since you don't cherish this opportunity, let's fight until you kneel down and beg for mercy. Just as the slap was about to hit Luo Xiu's face, Luo Xiu suddenly grabbed the hand that the opponent was hitting. How dare you fight back, you scumbag. It seems that I hit you too lightly last time. Li Hai shouted angrily and kicked Luo Xiu in the chest. Luo Xiu's body moved to avoid the foot, grabbed the other's hand and twisted it, almost twisting Li Hai's arm into fried dough twists on the spot. Ah! Li Hai immediately let out a pig-like howl, tears of pain streaming down his face. Bite every person you see, spray feces all over your mouth. You guys insult the dog by calling you a running dog. Luo Xiu let out a cold snort and kicked Li Hai away with just one kick. Li Hai held his dislocated arm and screamed incessantly, causing a cold sweat to break out from his painful forehead. Upon seeing this scene, the nearby students from the martial palace were all surprised, but their gaze towards Luo Xiu was filled with pity. Because they know Zhang Hao and his group of playboys very well, when they bully you, the more you resist, the harder they will attack. Little beast, it seems that you have developed skills and dare to hit me. Zhang Hao's face darkened. Last time I beat you hard, I thought you could have a better memory. It seems that young master, I took it lightly. This time, you are planning to lie in bed for 10.5 days. The person lying in bed may not be me, Luo Xiu snorted coldly and said lightly. The crowd was stunned, looking at Luo Xiu with a look of idiocy. They couldn't figure out where this guy came from and dared to say such things. At the age of 10, Zhang Hao entered the martial arts hall and practiced martial arts for 3 years. However, his family was wealthy and had reached the stage of refining the body and bones. He also practiced 2nd and 3rd grade martial arts techniques purchased from the martial arts hall, spending tens of thousands of taels of silver. Zhang Xiao, calm down. This shameless commoner doesn't need to dirty your hands. Let me take action to deal with him and have him kneel on the ground to lick your boots for Zhang Xiao. A sharp-tongued monkey-faced guy next to Zhang Hao flattered and said. Zhang Hao nodded with a smile and said, well, since that's the case, I'll leave this lowly person to Wang Ping. Don't lose my face like that useless person like Li Hai. Don't worry, Zhang Xiao. I am a martial artist in the triple realm of body refining. I just became a second-level martial artist a few days ago, and it's easy to win a lowly person. Wang Ping said confidently. These guys are one lowly person after another, causing many ordinary martial arts students in the martial arts arena to hold their anger in their chests, but they can only swallow their anger and dare not speak. Kid, I can solve you with just one move. Kneel down for me. Wang Ping stepped out with a cold palm wind, as if stirring up a strong wind, and directly slapped Luo Xiu's head. He was very arrogant when he took action and wanted to slap Luo Xiu to the ground, begging for mercy. Second-level martial arts skill. Wind palm. The crowd exclaimed in surprise, recognizing the origin of Wang Ping's martial arts skills. Second-grade martial arts cost thousands of taels of silver, and internal skills are even more expensive. It takes nearly 10,000 taels of silver to buy them. Oh my goodness, tens of thousands of taels of silver, I've never seen so much money in my life. Many martial arts students around were amazed and envious. Practicing second-level martial arts skills is also a triple cultivation of physical fitness. Among peers from ordinary backgrounds, no one can beat this Wang Ping. If it had been before, Luo Xiu would not have been Wang Ping's opponent. At this moment, in his eyes, the veins of life on Wang Ping's body were clearly visible, along with the roots of his internal qi running through the meridians, all of which were as clear as his fingertips, and he could see them all. In this profound insight into the essence of life, Luo Xiu felt as if his heart was immersed in a state of tranquility, as if the collapse of heaven and earth could not cause any ripples in his emotions. Bang! In the blink of an eye, Luo Xiu made a move. He punched across the air, his fist whistling, his fist like a bull's horn, fiercely hitting Wang Ping's chest. Hee, I'm a triple player in physical training. Fight with me and suffer for it. Because I'm faster than you. Wang Ping sneered and his inner energy rushed into his palm, wanting him to kneel in front of him before Luo Xiu's attack hit him. The second-level martial arts skill, Wind Palm, was originally known for its speed, but in an instant, it had already reached Luo Xiu's head. But the next moment, he realized that his palm was only a little bit away from Luo Xiu's skull, but he couldn't fall any more. Bang! A dull sound rang out, and he was hit hard in the chest with a fist. He let out a scream and flew out sideways. How could this be possible? The onlookers not far away were in a state of shock and uproar, because Luo Xiu's shooting speed was too fast, and it was not something that the martial artists in the refining double realm could achieve. Zhang Hao's face also changed slightly. Today's Luo Xiu seemed different from before, not a lowly kid he could easily manipulate and bully. On the other side, Luo Xiu's face remained expressionless, with a pair of eyes that seemed to penetrate the mysteries of the essence of life in all things. This made Zhang Hao couldn't help but give a shock, thinking that this kid was very evil today. In the past, both Li Hai and Wang Ping could easily defeat him, but today they have suffered consecutive losses in his hands. If defeating Li Hai is because he underestimated the enemy, then Wang Ping has gone all out. Suddenly, Luo Xiu's figure moved. This time, he took the initiative to attack and launched his Magnia fist, charging directly towards Zhang Hao. My surname is Zhang. Did you have a great time hitting me yesterday? Your mother doesn't even recognize you when I'm going to hit you today. Seeing Luo Xiu charging towards him, several people around Zhang Hao couldn't help but take a step back. Their strength was similar to that of Li Hai and Wang Ping. Do you think I'm those two idiots just now, ignorant commoner? Zhang Hao felt his authority among the students in the martial palace being provoked, and he let out a furious shout, his fingers bent into claws. The martial arts skill he uses is called Iron Eagle Claw, which is a third-grade martial arts skill. The claw wind is cold and I don't know how much stronger than Wang Ping's gale palm just now. Bang! Luo Xiu's fist collided with the Iron Eagle Claw. In everyone's eyes, if the first-level martial arts skill Mangmeo Fist were to confront the third-level martial arts skill Iron Eagle Claw, Luo Xiu's hand would definitely be useless. The clicking sound of bones breaking confirmed this to the surrounding crowd. Ah! However, to everyone's surprise, it was not Luo Xiu but Zhang Hao who screamed in agony in the audience. I saw Zhang Hao scream and retreat, with all 5 finger bones in his right hand broken, his face full of disbelief. Chapter 3. Cultivation Improvement. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Only Luo Xiu himself knew what was going on. In theory, his cultivation level is lower than Zhang Hao's, his internal energy is not as good as his opponent's, and his martial arts skills are not as good as Zhang Hao's. However, after improving his first-level martial arts, it is equivalent to increasing the level of his cultivation, reaching second level, or even stronger than second level. So even if it's tough, his inner strength is not much weaker than Zhang Hao's. Moreover, after fusing the life and death beads, Luo Xiu also possesses an ability, which is that his attacks will directly damage the opponent's life vein. The qi of life and death can nourish and repair the veins of life, while the qi of death can damage and destroy the veins of life. Luo Xiu's internal energy can switch between the extremes of life and death. This phenomenon is simply unbelievable, so after Zhang Hao's seemingly powerful Iron Eagle claws collided with Luo Xiu's fist, all 5 fingers were broken. Injury can lead to damage to the vital meridians. Conversely, if the vital meridians are directly damaged, they will manifest in the body in some form of injury. Bang! Luo Xiu stepped on the ground with his foot, stirring up dust and flying. His Mangmeo Fist opened, and he was like an angry bullfighting bull, advancing forward with great momentum. The broken finger bone in his right hand caused Zhang Hao to lose his composure, and he retreated in shock and anger. Get lost! Luo Xiu kicked Zhang Hao in the chest, and his body flew backwards like a kite with a broken string. Click! Another sound of bone fractures came out, and Zhang Hao's ribs were broken twice. He fell to the ground, unable to believe how things could have turned out like this. Just yesterday, he led a group of people to beat Luo Xiu fiercely, but today, everything has turned around. Ah! 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 A series of screams echoed in the martial arts arena, and the surrounding martial arts students were all stunned and silent, with needles falling in the air. Oh my God, my eyes are not blind, are they? Is this person really Luo Xiu? He knocked down Li Hai, Wang Ping, and Zhang Hao. Suddenly, many martial arts students in the arena were in an uproar, and everyone was surprised and had a strange expression. One of Li Hai's arms was twisted into fried dough twists, the bones were misplaced, and the channels were damaged. Wang Ping had 3 broken ribs in his chest and immediately passed out. Zhang Hao suffered even more severe injuries, with all 5 finger bones in his right hand broken and 2 ribs also broken. From childhood to adulthood, they have been the ones who beat others, but today in front of many martial arts students in the martial arts arena, the 3 of them were knocked down to the ground. And what they couldn't accept the most was that the guy who knocked himself down, causing him to lose face in front of many martial arts students and feel ashamed, was actually a lowly person who was beaten by them yesterday. Little beast, if you dare to hit me, you're doomed. The pain on his body made Zhang Hao's face look grim, with resentment in his eyes. How dare you speak hard? If I say I'll beat you up so that even your mother can't recognize you, then I won't let your father recognize you. Luo Xiu snorted coldly and stepped forward to kick you again. Are you a lowly person worthy of comparison with me? I will definitely make you pay the price. Zhang Hao said with resentment. Do you dare to threaten me? Luo Xiu's eyes flickered with a cold light, and he stepped on Zhang Hao's left wrist with another click, causing his wrist bone to break. At this moment, combined with the original injury, Zhang Hao's eyes turned black and he fell into a coma on the spot. Zhang Hao has become accustomed to arrogance due to his superior family background. He will definitely retaliate against me after being beaten so badly by me today. Having a bad breath is certainly enjoyable, but Luo Xiu naturally thinks about the result of doing so. However, Luo Xiu has nothing to fear. As long as his cultivation and strength rapidly improve, he will definitely be valued and cultivated by the martial palace. Even the Zhang family will not dare to confront the martial palace at that time. Because everyone in Yunlong County knows that behind the martial arts halls in major cities is the Xiaoyao Gate. Among the 13 sects of the 3 palaces, 6 sects, and 13 sects, the Xiaoyao sect is one of the 13 sections. In the land of Yunlong County, it is undoubtedly a hegemonic force. After beating Zhang Hao hard, many martial arts students in the martial arts arena looked at Luo Xiu one by one as if they were looking at monsters. How could this be possible? Zhang Hao is in the 4 stages of refining his body, refining his tendons and bones, and Luo Xiuzai is in the 2 stages of refining his body. It seems that Luo Xiu defeated Zhang Hao with just 2 moves. Everyone was stunned and looked incredulous, watching as Luo Xiu's figure gradually faded away. The martial arts hall was very large, and each student had an independent residence. When Luo Xiu returned to his room, his excitement gradually cooled down. I just defeated a mere Zhang Hao, and I can't be complacent about it. It seems that Zhang Hao has an older brother who is a student in the intermediate class of the martial palace and has at least achieved a level of 5 or more physical cultivation. There are 3 classes for students in Wujian. The age range of 10 to 13 is the junior class, the age range of 14 to 16 is the intermediate class, and the age range of 17 to 18 is the advanced class. Most students in the junior class are practicing physical fitness from level 1 to level 4, while students in the intermediate class have a minimum of level 5. If they fail to reach level 5 within the age limit, they will not be relegated, but will be directly expelled from the martial arts hall. As for the students in the advanced class, they are limited to 8 levels of physical training, and if they fail to meet the requirements, they will also be expelled by the martial palace. Luo Xiu is 13 years old this year. If he were to follow his previous cultivation speed, he would definitely not be able to achieve the 5th level of body cultivation before the age of 14. Once he is expelled from the martial arts hall, he will not only be ridiculed by others, but also disappoint his parents who have emptied their families for the sake of practicing martial arts. In 3 months, the annual assessment will begin, and I must achieve the 5 levels of physical training to pass the assessment. Luo Xiu set his first cultivation goal for himself. During the cultivation, time passed unconsciously. During this period, Luo Xiu did not leave home and prepared dry food and water in advance, which can be described as forgetting sleep and food, and practicing diligently. After Zhang Hao's brother Zhang Hai learned about this matter, he always wanted to trouble Luo Xiu. However, according to the regulations of the martial palace, students are not allowed to trespass in their residence, otherwise they will be severely punished. For martial artists, seclusion cultivation is the most taboo, and no one dares to disobey the rules of the martial arts hall. Even some students with extraordinary backgrounds will not be tolerated by the martial arts hall, because similar precedents have appeared a long time ago. There used to be a prosperous family in Qingyun City. The young master of the family suffered losses in the martial arts palace and led a group of people to break into the other party's residence while they were practicing, causing the student to become possessed and die. This incident caused a considerable sensation in the martial arts palace. In just 3 days, the prosperous family was completely expelled from Qingyun City. During the period of seclusion, Luo Xiu was able to clearly feel the changes in his body. By inhaling the vitality of heaven and earth, he condensed the 2 extremes of life and death in his body. His physique was constantly improved, and his cultivation speed was countless times faster than before. His body was like a bottomless pit. On the 2nd day of seclusion, he broke through to the 3rd level of body refining, and then began to refine his muscles and bones, moving towards the 4th level of body refining. 5 days later, Luo Xiu's strength advanced again and he became a martial artist in the 4 realms of body refining. After reaching the 4th level of body cultivation, Luo Xiu found that even with the improved first-level cultivation method, the effect of cultivation had weakened significantly, and he no longer advanced as before. After all, the foundation of first-class cultivation is too poor and its plasticity is limited. According to the rules of the martial arts hall, if a martial artist reaches the fourth level of cultivating their body, they are eligible to enter the library and select second-level martial arts. On this day, Luo Xiu walked out of his room. He wanted to improve his cultivation faster and needed higher quality techniques. Damn it, you finally dare to come out. As soon as he came out of the room, Luo Xiu saw a young man in brocade staring fiercely at him. Where are the animals here biting people indiscriminately? Luo Xiu didn't even know each other, but this person kept cursing himself as a lowly person. No matter how well cultured he was, he couldn't have been without a bit of anger. Do you dare to scold me? The young man in brocade's face turned cold, and there was a glint of killing intent in his eyes. If you can call me a commoner, why wouldn't I dare to call you a beast? Do you think you are a proud son of heaven, born superior? Luo Xiu sneered. You have a lot of courage, but as a lowly person like you, the bolder you are, the faster you die, said the young man in the brocade. Luo Xiu didn't take it seriously and sneered, your younger brother was defeated by the lowly people you talked about and stomped on his feet. So what is your younger brother? As his brother, what are you? You're looking for death. A faint light flashed on the young man in brocade, and a sense of pressure rushed towards Luo Xiu. The internal qi emits light, which is a manifestation of the pure and rich internal qi of a martial artist who cultivates 7 levels of body. As Luo Xiu guessed, this young man in brocade is Zhang Hao's brother Zhang Hai. He was originally an outstanding figure among second-grade students, but now he has reached the 7th level of physical training. Luo Xiu's gaze was stern. The martial arts disciples in the 7 realms of refining body were still quite tricky for him, but if they really started fighting, he was not afraid of using methods that could directly damage the veins of life. The movement here also attracted many people, gathering not far away to point and point. That person seems to be Zhang Hao's brother Zhang Hai. He just emitted a light of internal energy on his body, indicating that he is already a martial artist refining 7 levels of body. I heard that martial artists from the 7 realms of refining body are qualified to enter the library and select 3rd-grade martial arts. I really envy them. A few days ago, Luo Xiu injured Zhang Hao, and Zhang Hai personally took action. Luo Xiu is going to be in big trouble. Everyone's discussion was nothing more than marveling at Zhang Hai's strength. As for Luo Xiu, although he defeated Zhang Hao and others a few days ago, those opponents were not on the same level as Zhang Hai. We're going to take action. Everyone saw the light of internal energy emanating from Zhang Hai's body, and it was clear that this was a manifestation of the martial artist in the 7 realms of refining the body who had maximized the internal energy. You have disabled my brother's 2 hands, broken his 2 ribs, and I will disable your limbs, breaking all your ribs. Zhang Hai sneered and said, there are rules in the martial arts hall that prohibit murder, but as long as this kid is deposed, a useless person who cannot practice martial arts is destined to be expelled. When he leaves the martial arts hall, using the Zhang family's methods, he can crush a commoner, just like drinking water. Chapter 4. Beautiful Teacher. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before the words could be finished, Zhang Hai had already started directly. With one step of his body, he swung his palm knife towards Luo Xiu's chest, with a strong and powerful wind. As soon as he saw this he said he would take action, and Luo Xiu's face turned cold. He crossed his arms to resist the opponent's attack. Bang! Luo Xiuji felt a sharp pain in the bones of his arms, and the powerful impact made him involuntarily take a few steps back. Undoubtedly, it is the 7th level of physical cultivation. Both speed and strength are much stronger than me. Luo Xiu stabilized his figure, his gaze somewhat solemn, and his internal energy transformed into vitality to repair the veins of his life. The sharp pain from his arms gradually disappeared. Surprisingly, you didn't fall down. You, a lowly person, have some skills in injuring my useless younger brother. Zhang Hai furrowed his brows slightly. Not only did he cultivate the 7th level of physical cultivation, but his martial arts and techniques were also 3rd-grade martial arts. He was somewhat surprised that he could not defeat Luo Xiu with one move. Of course, it was just a bit unexpected. Zhang Hai had absolute confidence in his own strength, snorted coldly, and then made another move, using an iron eagle claw to strike Luo Xiu's neck. Similarly, with his 3rd-level martial arts skill, Iron Eagle Claw, Zhang Hai's performance is completely incomparable to that of Zhang Hao when he first used it, with a strong wind rushing towards him at an extremely fast speed. Stop it for me. At this moment, a furious shout suddenly came out. Upon hearing this sound, Zhang Hai quickly stopped and looked over to see a woman with a hot figure, wearing a tight white military uniform, and a cold frost on her face walking over. Teacher Lu. The surrounding martial arts students all saluted when they saw her. This woman's name is Lu Mengyao, and she is one of the teachers of the Qingyun City Martial Palace. She is also a true warrior who has reached the Qi Si realm in martial arts cultivation. Lu Mengyao has a hot and curvy figure, slender legs, exquisite and beautiful face, strong strength, extremely high talent, and many advantages combined. She is extremely popular in the martial arts hall of Qingyun City. In front of teacher Wujian, Zhang Hai dared not make any mistakes, so he did not dare to continue to attack Luo Xiu. I've met teacher Lu. Zhang Hai and Luo Xiu also saluted at the same time. Your name is Zhang Hai, right? As a martial artist in the intermediate level class who cultivates 7 levels of physical fitness, but runs to the junior level class to show off his strength and bully the weak, isn't it the work of a martial arts practitioner? Lu Mengyao snorted coldly and frowned, shouting. Teacher Lu misunderstood because Luo Xiu injured my younger brother. As an elder brother, I naturally want to seek justice, Zhang Haili said angrily. Lu Mengyao glanced at Luo Xiu, but in fact, she had not paid much attention to this student who had been unknown for 3 years and had not shown any outstanding performance. The struggle between students, even Wu Jian, turns a blind eye because it is already a competition of survival of the fittest. However, a few days ago, Luo Xiu defeated Zhang Hao, who was very strong in the junior class, in the martial arts arena, which surprised Lu Mengyao a bit. The 4 realms of body refining. Lu Mengyao noticed the fluctuation of internal qi on Luo Xiu's body. A few days ago, she clearly remembered that this student was still practicing twice. She was slightly surprised in her heart, did he accumulate knowledge and discover his talent for practicing martial arts? Some people have a great talent for practicing martial arts, but at first they don't understand how to use it and cannot reflect it. However, as time goes on, this talent will still show up and their strength will rapidly improve. She felt that Luo Xiu might belong to this type, and if he was really a good seedling, he could be well cultivated. Compared to those playboys from aristocratic families, Lu Mengyao values ordinary people from ordinary backgrounds more. In order to stand out, they are generally willing to put in several times more effort than others to practice hard. This perseverance are not something that some playboys with superior lives can achieve. Being stared at by Lu Mengyao, Luo Xiu felt uncomfortable all over. For a commoner student like him with a low sense of presence, it was the first time he had been noticed by the teaching teacher. As a teaching teacher, I shouldn't interfere in the struggle between students. Lu Mengyao withdrew her gaze and scanned the whole room, saying expressionlessly, but the fairness and justice of the martial palace cannot be violated by anyone. Her gaze fell on Zhang Hai. If you want to compete with Luo Xiu in martial arts, I don't object. In the assessment 3 months later, if Luo Xiu can enter the intermediate class, I won't interfere. But now, you go back and practice well. At this moment, everyone present could hear that this hot and charismatic beauty teacher was clearly favoring Luo Xiu. In Wujian, bullying lower grade students in advanced and intermediate classes is the most common. However, Zhang Hao dares to act recklessly in Wu Jian's junior class because he has Zhang Hai supporting him. As long as no one is killed, Wu Jian teachers will never intervene. Many people looked at Luo Xiu with envy in their eyes, obviously because this guy had defeated Zhang Hao a few days ago and gained attention from the teacher. Zhang Hai clenched his fist and was quite unwilling to take action now to depose Luo Xiu. But given him 100 courage, he dare not disobey Lu Menyao's intentions, because there have always been rumors in the martial arts hall that this teacher Lu's background is not simple, and other martial arts hall teachers, even the martial arts hall elders, are very polite and respectful to her. Okay, since that's the case, I'll come find him to settle the accounts again in 3 months. Zhang Hai glared at Luo Xiu, then bowed to Lu Mengyao and strode away. A small controversy came to an end due to the appearance of Lu Mengyao, but everyone is well aware that this matter is not over. Zhang Hai has a cultivation level of 7 levels of physical cultivation, while Luo Xiu, even if he enters the intermediate class after 3 months of assessment, is at most 5 levels of physical cultivation, and there is still a big gap between the two. Thank you, Teacher Lu. Luo Xiu thanked Lu Mengyao. Although it was really a fight, he was not afraid of Zhang Hai, but Teacher Lu did intentionally favor him just now, and Luo Xiu was still very grateful. Lu Mengyao nodded with a smile and said, being able to accumulate and develop at critical moments indicates that you still have some potential. Practice well and strive to pass the assessment 3 months later. If we follow Luo Xiu's previous cultivation speed, he will definitely not be able to pass the upgrade assessment. As the assessment approaches, he has accumulated knowledge and continuously broken through 2 small levels. That's why Lu Mengyao noticed him and helped him easily. Because in her opinion, it is almost impossible for Luo Xiu to pass the assessment 3 months later if he is injured by Zhang Hai. Of course, Lu Mengyao wouldn't just think that Luo Xiu is a good seedling worth cultivating right now. Unless he can continue to maintain this cultivation speed, it's just a flash in the pan. After the words fell, Lu Mengyao turned around and left. The other students who were watching nearby were all doing what they were supposed to do. Looking at the back of Lu Menyao's departure, Luo Xiu furrowed his brows slightly. Just now, he saw the life vein of this teacher Lu, whose life breath was sometimes strong and sometimes deep, especially the position of his heart pulse seemed to be somewhat abnormal. This is the first time Luo Xiu has seen the life cycle of a martial artist in the Qi-Si realm. The life cycle of a martial artist in the refining body realm and an ordinary person emits a faint white light, while the life cycle of a martial artist in the Qi-Si realm emits a blue light. Luo Xiu knew that this was because the martial artists in the Qi-Si realm were far stronger than those in the body refining realm, and their life veins were also more resilient. Even if he tried his best, he could not damage the opponent's life veins. It seems that my strength is still very weak, and I cannot be complacent just because I have special means and abilities. Luo Xiu's gaze became even firmer as he walked towards the direction of the Martial Palace Library. The library is the location where the martial arts hall collects many martial arts, and it is naturally an important place that cannot be accessed casually. In addition to the presence of martial arts elders with innate abilities, some martial arts students also work part-time to guard the library, earning a monthly income of some silver. Many of those who do such part-time jobs are martial artists from ordinary backgrounds, so those disciples from aristocratic families naturally won't be interested in only 20.30 taels of silver per month. Stop, do not trespass in the important area of the library. 2 martial arts students stopped Luo Xiu in front of the library door. Luo Xiu frowned and looked at the figures who had just entered the library, saying, "Why didn't I see you stop those people? What qualifications do you have to be compared to those aristocratic young masters? They come to the library either to purchase martial arts, or to select martial arts when their cultivation strength meets the conditions. You are a martial arts disciple with dual body refining skills, hurry up and get away." The person speaking is a student from the intermediate class, a martial artist from the 5 realms of body refining, named Wang Hui. He is a neighbor of Luo Xiu's family, so he is naturally not unfamiliar with him. Wang Hui is slightly older than Luo Xiu, already 15 years old. When he was in the junior class, he followed Zhang Hai and gained some benefits. Otherwise, with his commoner background, it would be difficult for him to be promoted to the intermediate class. The reason why he stopped Luo Xiu and spoke ill of each other was because he heard that Luo Xiu had injured Zhang Hao, the younger brother of Zhang Hai. Considering that our two families are neighbors, I advise you to seek an apology from Zhang Shaoli. Otherwise, not only will you be unlucky, but your parents and sister will also suffer along. Wang Hui looked up at Luo Xiu with a condescending demeanor, his nose raised to the sky. He doesn't think there's anything shameful about following Zhang Hai, it's called being a wise man. Even if he gets old and can't enter the advanced class, he can only leave the martial arts hall and still be on the Zhang family tree. So he's the Luo Xiu who hit the young master of the Zhang family. He usually doesn't show any signs, he hides very deep. Another intermediate class student, who was with Wang Hui, said sarcastically and disdainfully. Luo Xiu was too lazy to pay attention to these two people. Although Wang Hui was also his playmate when he was young, he went his separate ways after entering the martial arts hall. Everyone had their own aspirations, and there was no longer any romantic bond. According to the rules of the martial palace, one can select martial arts from the library by practicing the 4 levels of physical cultivation. Do you want to break the rules of the martial palace? Luo Xiu asked coldly. 4 levels of body cultivation. Wang Hui laughed heartily. I said Luo Xiu, don't you even brag and see who it is. I don't know you yet. A few days ago, you were still practicing 2 levels of body cultivation. I don't know what method you used to hurt Zhang Xiao, but you really treat yourself like a scallion. After being harassed multiple times, Luo Xiu also became a bit angry and shouted coldly, open your dog's eyes and see clearly. During his speech, he used his martial arts techniques and emitted internal energy waves from the 4-level martial artists of refining his body. His muscles and bones made a crisp sound, indicating that he had stepped into the realm of refining tendons and bones. Wang Hui's laughter came to an abrupt end. This is impossible. How could your cultivation improve so quickly? Wang Hui exclaimed in surprise, and then his face turned cold. Even if you are practicing the 4 levels of body cultivation, what's wrong? If I say I won't let you in, I won't let you in. Luo Xiu didn't expect Wang Hui to go so far. His eyes flickered with a sharp light. Do you dare to break the rules of the martial palace? Rules? Wang Hui sneered coldly. Rules also depend on who they are for. To be honest, if we were neighbors in the past, I would naturally let you in. But you are actually against Zhang Xiaozhua. You can't even enter this library gate. Not bad, I heard you injured Zhang Xiao's younger brother, so I happened to take you down and hand you over to Zhang Xiao for punishment. Another intermediate class student who was guarding the Sutra Pavilion with Wang Hui sneered. Before he could finish speaking, he directly reached out and grabbed Luo Xiu's collar, and he was very confident in his own strength. With the strength of a martial artist in the 5 realms of refining body, it was not a problem to win a junior class student. The other party was making things difficult, and Luo Xiu was really angry. He let out a loud shout and launched the Mang Niu fist, with a cold fist wind that sounded like the sound of a cow's moo. The surging and fierce force roared and pounced. Chapter 5. Library. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You're not afraid to fight back. I, Lu Feng, want you to know how big the difference is between refining the 5th and 4th levels of your body. This Lu Feng, like Wang Hui, is an intermediate class student who follows Zhang Hai and hopes to be listed on the Zhang family tree. There are many people like them who know that their martial arts training qualifications are not excellent, and the intermediate class is the limit. It is impossible to be promoted to the advanced class. When the time comes, they can graduate from the intermediate class of the martial palace with 5 or 6 levels of cultivation, and also enter the Zhang family to receive good treatment. So these two people are working so hard, doing everything in their power to make things difficult for Luo Xiu in front of the library. The commotion here also attracted the attention of some students who were planning to enter the library. Many people were sweating for Luo Xiu. Lu Feng, who made a move, is the 5th level of physical training in the intermediate class. How can a junior class student resist it? Bang! Fists and palms collided, making a dull sound. Lu Feng's body stiffened violently, followed by trembling lips and a pale complexion. Ah! A painful howl came from Lu Feng's mouth, sharp and piercing. He retreated pale and his entire right arm was pulled down, especially the bone in his right hand, shattered to pieces. Lu Feng. Wang Hui's face changed, completely surprised that his companion, who was refining his body 5 times, would be injured by Luo Xiu's move. I saw Lu Feng howling in pain, the pain of his broken bones making him tremble uncontrollably. Luo Xiu remained expressionless and said, "Breaking the rules of the martial palace and preventing me from entering the library is my own fault." As he spoke, Luo Xiu's gaze turned coldly towards Wang Hui. "Do you still want to stop me now?" Although their cultivation level is 1 level higher than his own, Luo Xiu did not pay much attention to the 5 levels of physical cultivation in these 2 intermediate classes because of their cultivation of life and death extreme qi, as well as the means that can directly damage the veins of life. Watched by Luo Xiu's gaze, Wang Hui couldn't help but shudder, feeling that Luo Xiu was so unfamiliar now, as if he had changed a person. But when he remembered Zhang Hai supporting him behind him, Wang Hui immediately calmed down and shouted angrily, "Luo Xiu, you have so much courage. Not only did you want to trespass on the library, but you also injured the guard. I want to abolish your cultivation." With these words, Wang Hui was filled with righteous indignation and his internal energy was circulating. "I have seen shameless people, but I have never seen someone as shameless as you. Everyone present can testify that it was you who broke the rules first and actually bit me back." Luo Xiu sneered. "Good you, Luo Xiu." Wang Hui's chest was blocked, and he didn't know how to refute it. In the corner of his eye, he saw many students from the martial arts hall nearby watching. That's right, the intermediate class is amazing. Luo Xiu is clearly in the 4th level of physical training, and according to the rules, he can enter the library to select martial arts. However, they don't allow Luo Xiu to enter. However, Luo Xiu is really impressive. The martial arts disciples in the intermediate class refining body 5 realm couldn't catch his punch. The voices of discussion around him made Wang Hui's face even more ugly. He knew very well that he didn't occupy a single word of reason. However, if Luo Xiu were to be deposed, the martial palace would definitely not do anything to him for the sake of an deposed person, let alone have Zhang Hai as his support. At this point in his thoughts, he felt evil towards his courage and angrily said, "Luo Xiu, you dare to argue. Today, I will completely depose you." With a flash of his figure, he rushed towards Luo Xiu and punched him. The fist wind howled, and Lu Feng was injured, which made Wang Hui feel uneasy. Therefore, he immediately displayed his expertise in martial arts. 2nd level martial arts skills. How should Luo Xiu resist now? Just now, Lu Feng should have been careless and underestimated the enemy, so Wang Hui definitely wouldn't have made the same mistake. The martial arts disciples in the 5th level realm of refining their bodies refine their tendons and bones. Their strength is already strong, and with the help of 2nd level martial arts skills, if they are hit in the 4th level realm of refining their bodies, they will definitely not die or become disabled. "Get out of here!" Luo Xiu shouted angrily, still using the Magni of Fist to confront the opponent head-on. In the eyes of everyone, Luo Xiu's power in his actions is much inferior to that of Wang Hui. Bang! At the moment when 2 fists collided, Wang Hui suddenly let out a sharp scream. Ah, my hands. He stumbled backwards, with the sound of bone fractures and a heart-wrenching pain that Wang Hui couldn't bear. What is the situation? Everyone was once again stunned. Lu Feng and Wang Hui were both practicing the 5th level of physical training, and their strength was definitely much stronger than the 4th level. However, in one move, they both suffered a big loss at the hands of Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu's fist is probably made of iron, there must be a problem with it. Mang Niu fist is just a first-class martial arts skill. When did it become so powerful? Everyone was amazed, and with the eyesight of these martial arts students, they naturally couldn't see any hidden secrets inside. Now I'm going to enter the library, do you still want to stop me? Luo Xiu snorted coldly and walked forward. Lu Feng and Wang Hui both retreated in fear, clutching their right hands. Luo Xiu, don't be too arrogant. If you offend Zhang Xiao, you won't have good fruit to eat. Wang Hui gritted his teeth and shouted sternly. Am I arrogant? It seems like the arrogant people have always been you, right? Luo Xiu looked at the two people across with a disdainful expression on his face, too lazy to talk nonsense to them. Get out of here, otherwise I don't mind wasting your other hand. You. Luo Xiu, don't be ignorant. Noisy. Luo Xiu's face turned cold, and he quickly kicked towards the two people blocking in front of him. Wang Hui and Lu Feng dared not resist forcefully and quickly dodged, while at this moment, Luo Xiu had already approached the library. In front of the library, Luo Xiu saw an old man with white beard and hair sitting cross-legged. He had previously clashed with Wang Hui and Lu Feng, and the old man had closed his eyes from beginning to end, ignoring them. The conflicts and struggles among students in the martial palace are actually a hidden rule of survival of the fittest. As long as no one lives, the martial palace has never intervened. This old man is the Wujian elder in charge of guarding the library. In Luo Xiu's eyes, the life veins on this old man's body show a strong blue light. A martial arts master at the level of innate realm. Luo Xiu's gaze trembled as he could feel a powerful force hidden in the body of this martial arts temple elder through his life veins, far surpassing that of Lu, a martial arts master in the sea realm. Junior class student Luo Xiu pays his respects to the elder. Luo Xiu salutes and says, my cultivation has reached the 4th level of physical cultivation. I want to enter the library and choose a 2nd level martial arts. Elder Wu slowly opened his eyes and his gaze fell on Luo Xiu. He nodded and said, go in. Thank you, elder. Luo Xiu responded and then turned to enter the library. The conflict between Luo Xiu, Lu Feng, and Wang Hui before, was noticed by the elder of the martial palace. It was not uncommon for him to defeat the 5th level of the 4th level of body refining, so he did not pay too much attention to it. For him, who had a cultivation level in the innate realm, the level of body refining was still too low to attract his attention. The Wujian library contains many martial arts, and it is said that the highest level of martial arts has reached the 4th grade. Only the most outstanding students in the Wujian are qualified to practice. The value of 4th grade martial arts is not insignificant. If you want to purchase it, you can only buy 3rd grade martial arts in the martial arts hall at most. 4th grade martial arts cannot be measured by the silver in the secular world. For Luo Xiu, 4th grade martial arts is still quite distant. In the past, 2nd grade martial arts had already been his dream. The library pavilion has 3 levels. The first level includes 1st and 2nd level martial arts, the 2nd level includes 3rd level martial arts, and the highest 4th level includes 4th level martial arts. The cultivation of the 4 levels of body cultivation in Ilua can select one from each level, including martial arts, internal skills, martial arts techniques, and body methods. In the first floor, Luo Xiu saw the figures of some martial arts students who had also entered the library to choose martial arts. Breaking Wind Palm, Fierce Tiger Fist, Willow Fluff Body Method, Windward Step. There are various types of martial arts secrets, which are dazzling. All martial arts secrets are divided into three categories: cultivation area, martial arts area, and body method area. Luo Xiu first looked at the cultivation area, most of which were first-grade cultivation methods, with only a few second-grade cultivation methods. Low-level martial arts generally do not differ much. Luo Xiu chose the most popular second-level internal skill, the Yijin forging bone skill. This technique is most suitable for martial artists in the stage of refining tendons and bones, and can be practiced up to the 6th level of body refining. Some of the meridians and acupoints involved have greater plasticity and room for improvement compared to the first-level basic internal skills practiced by Luo Xiu before. Later, Luo Xiu went to the martial arts area again. The first and second level martial arts were mostly martial arts such as fist, foot, and palm techniques, while the weapon-type martial arts were generally above the third level. The cultivation of martial arts emphasizes a gradual approach, as Luo Xiu had a foundation in practicing Mangniu fist before. Therefore, he chose a second-level martial arts technique called Dragon and Tiger Fist. This boxing technique takes a fierce path, with great power and astonishing explosive power. It can also be ranked among the top in second-level martial arts. There are also many students in the martial arts hall who practice it, but there are not many people who can truly cultivate this boxing technique to a higher level. There are two types of martial arts cultivation, one is cultivation level and the other is realm. It goes without saying that cultivation naturally goes from refining the body to the sea of qi, and then to advancing from birth. And the realm is a mysterious and profound statement, also known as the martial arts realm, which requires extremely high talent to comprehend and master. The body method chosen by Luo Xiu is inch step, which is a body method that moves quickly between square inches. It is easy to practice, but it is difficult to reach a high level of depth. After selecting 3 second-level martial arts, Luo Xiu was quite satisfied. Luo Xiu. At this moment, a soft and agile voice suddenly came. Luo Xiu followed the sound and saw a young girl in a blue dress looking at him. Miss Lu, Luo Xiu nodded with a smile as a greeting. The girl in the blue dress is Lu Yusen, who used to be the object of Luo Xiu's secret love. However, in the past, he was a non-mainstream member of the beginner's class, while she was the 6th-level member of the intermediate class. It was also because of her that Luo Xiuzai offended Zhang Hao and sparked various conflicts later on. If it had been before, Luo Xiu would have been somewhat submissive and insecure when he saw her, but the fusion of the life and death beads gave him great confidence. Now, facing Lu Yusen, his mentality has also changed from the past. Lu Yusen also looked at Luo Xiu in surprise. I didn't expect that you had already refined your body 4 times. I remember a few days ago, you were still refining your body 2 times. Hehe, it's just a lucky breakthrough, Luo Xiu smiled. But the assessment will be conducted in 3 months. If you can't reach the level of body cultivation, what are your plans? Lu Yusen smiled lightly. If you don't have a good place to go, you can come to our Lu family. How about I arrange for you to be a guard? The guards of the Lu family. Luo Xiu's expression was slightly strange. As I looked at Lu Yusen, I suddenly understood her meaning. It should have been Zhang Hao's entanglement with her that led to her being beaten. Lu Yusen felt that she couldn't pass the assessment in 3 months, so she planned to find a way for him. If it were in the past, Luo Xiu might have really considered the other party's opinion, but now, Luo Xiu has not taken the assessment 3 months later so seriously. Thank you very much for Miss Lu's kindness. I will pass the assessment in 3 months, Luo Xiu said with a smile. His expression was filled with an indescribable confidence, which surprised Lu Yusen slightly. Something that you don't know for sure, can you even reach the 5th level of body refining in just 3 months? A disdainful and indifferent voice came, and a young man in a white shirt walked over and stood beside Lu Yusen. Chapter 6. Dragon and Tiger Fist. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luo Xiu saw a hint of unkindness in the gaze of the young man in white clothes looking at him. Do I know you? Luo Xiu frowned. The young man in white snorted coldly, his face full of arrogance. Of course you don't know me, because you don't have the qualification to know me at all. Since I don't know you, when you came up, you said I don't know what's going on. What are you? Luo Xiu sneered. The young man in the white shirt had a hint of sharp coldness in his eyes, but then a playful smile appeared on his lips. No wonder you, a lowly commoner from humble backgrounds, dare to oppose the Zhang brothers. You are indeed very brave. But I advise you to figure out your identity. Yusin can't have any interaction with you, a lowly person. The young man in white had a strong tone, sharp eyes, and a threatening tone. Luo Xiu glanced at Lu Yusin. This woman is very beautiful. If we really want to talk about it, his secret love and liking for Lu Yusin is more of an appreciation for beautiful things. With the beat of life and death, Luo Xiu believed that his future achievements could never be limited to a small Qinyan city. After experiencing each event, he also realized that in this world, there is no strong power, and everything is illusory. So, what Luo Xiu wants to pursue in his heart is unparalleled martial arts. As long as there is enough powerful power, what kind of woman cannot obtain it? And the young man in the white shirt was aggressive, mocking and belittling herself, while Lu Yusin remained silent. Does this mean that she actually thinks the same in her heart? Su Fei, don't say anything, Lu Yusin frowned and said, Luo Xiu is someone who has helped me before. I don't allow you to say that about him. Then she looked at Luo Xiu again and said, if you cannot pass the assessment in 3 months, I have written you an introduction letter. You will take it to the Lu family and someone will arrange it for you. As she spoke, she took out a delicate letter from her sleeve and handed it to Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu couldn't help but laugh. She was the daughter of the Lu family. If I had gone to her house to serve as a guard servant, it would have been a disguised refusal to let me know the difference in status between myself and her. From the look in Lu Yusin's eyes, Luo Xiu was able to understand some subtle meanings. No need, thank you very much for your kindness. Luo Xiu refused without hesitation, pointing to the 3 martial arts secrets in his arms and saying, I still have to go back to practice. Goodbye. As the words fell, he walked towards the door of the library without looking back. Lu Yusin was slightly stunned, her beautiful eyes flickering with a hint of contemplation. The young man in white, Su Fei, snorted disdainfully, Yusin, what do you care about this lowly person? Lu Yusin shook her head and said, perhaps what I did hurt his self-esteem. Self-esteem. Su Fei disdained even more, even the lowly have the right to talk about self-esteem. Registering with the elders guarding the library, Luo Xiu walked out of the place where many martial arts were included, carrying 3 martial arts secret books. I don't know how long it took to choose martial arts in the library. Even when he came out of the library, he didn't see Wang Hui and Lu Feng. He probably went to the medical room to treat his injuries. 3 months later, the annual assessment will begin. Students aged 14 and 17 must undergo the assessment, and those who fail will be expelled from the martial arts hall. The reason why there are such regulations in the martial arts hall is because the cultivation of martial arts is extremely difficult, and the later it is, the more difficult it is to enter. Therefore, for the martial arts hall, students who cannot meet the requirements are those who do not have cultivation value and will naturally be abandoned. Of course, if a student in a junior class, even if they have not reached the age of 14, and their cultivation is promoted to the 5th level of physical training, they can still participate in the assessment and be directly promoted to the intermediate class. Similarly, if a student in the intermediate class is promoted to the advanced class, the same applies. In his own room, Luo Xiu calmed his mind and envisioned a life cycle diagram, deducing the Gi Jin Forjing Gu Gong. The first thing he needs to do is to improve and enhance this 2nd level martial art. After 2 days, Luo Xiu finally improved the Yi gene forging bone technique, and it has reached its limit and cannot be further improved. Subsequently, Luo Xiu began to practice according to the improved technique. The energy of heaven and earth converged on his body surface, forming a hazy white mist. After the energy entered his body, Luo Xiu felt the throbbing of his soul. Under the influence of the life and death pearl, the energy absorbed into his body was transformed into the 2 extremes of life and death. The 4 to 6 levels of body refining belong to the stage of refining tendons and bones. The 2 extremes of life and death are refined into the tendons and bones to strengthen their strength. At the same time, internal energy is also stored in the tendons and bones, which can be freely used during battles. So the higher the cultivation level of a martial artist in the body refining realm, the richer their internal energy and stronger their strength. In the process of cultivation, there is no sun or moon. This time of seclusion is much longer than the previous one, and in the blink of an eye, it will take a month. In just a few days ago, I broke through from the 2nd level of body cultivation to the 4th level, but the speed of cultivation began to slow down. On the one hand, it is because the higher the cultivation level, the harder it is to improve. On the other hand, it is also because Luo Xiu does not have superior cultivation conditions like those disciples of aristocratic families. Slowly opening his eyes, Luo Xiu felt the cultivation in his body and pondered, after a month, I finally achieved the level of refining my body to 5. If I could take pills like those disciples of aristocratic families, use arrays, and in a month, at least I could reach the level of refining my body to 6. For this, Luo Xiu was also helpless. Whether it was elixirs, formations, or the elemental energy stones used to activate formations, they were all expensive items that required a large amount of money investment. The cultivation level has been improved, and now comes the martial arts and body methods. Luo Xiu walked down from the bed and began practicing the 2nd level martial arts Longhu fist in the room. The fist wind was cold, as if the sound of dragons singing and tiger howling could be heard, and its power was much stronger than the previous Magnia fist. But Luo Xiu was not satisfied. He envisioned a life cycle diagram in his mind, further enhancing this martial arts skill. The inner energy of life and death flows through the skin, flesh, muscles, and bones. The mysteries of life and the terror of death contain some profound truth, imprinted in his body and soul. This feeling is incredibly wonderful. Roar! Luo Xiu's body rushed forward, like a fierce tiger pouncing on it, with a hazy black radiance rising on the surface of his body. The aura of death was pervasive, as if he had truly transformed into a fierce tiger, intending to tear the target into pieces. Bang! The wooden table in the room couldn't withstand the power, and in an instant it split into pieces, with sawdust flying everywhere. Luo Xiu stopped and saw a sunken fist mark left on the wall, with some small cracks around it. You should know that the buildings in the martial arts palace are all built with hard rocks, and without the power of refining 7 layers of body, they cannot be destroyed. What a powerful force! Luo Xiu looked at the fist marks and cracks on the wall, his face full of excitement. This effect is definitely comparable to the power of 3rd-grade martial arts. Dragon and Tiger Fist can be divided into Tiger Style and Tinglong Style. Among them, Tinglong Style has a stronger power than Tiger Style. What kind of effect can it cause? Luo Xiu was eager to try, but he didn't dare to continue practicing martial arts in the room. If the damage to the room was serious, he couldn't afford the compensation. With this in mind, Luo Xiu pushed open the door and headed to the martial arts arena. In addition to martial arts skills, he also needed to practice every step of his body. After all, the space in the room was still too small. Bang! 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 In the black stone area of the martial arts arena, a young man in black is waving his fists in front of a black stone monument. Each punch hitting the black stone makes a dull sound and leaves shallow indentations. The black stone tablet here is made of a material called black stone. The black stone is very strong and must be a martial artist with a body refining ability of 6 or more in order to leave a mark on the black stone. And there is also a characteristic of black stone, which is that it will automatically repair. Despite the current potholes on it, after a few hours, it will become smooth and calm again. Brother Zhao Yang is so impressive, truly a master of the intermediate class. If only I had such formidable strength. Near the boy in black, several flower-crazy girls would occasionally shout and scream. Luo Xiu has also heard of this young man in black, named Zhao Yang, who is a student in the intermediate class. He comes from a wealthy family and is of the same age as Luo Xiu. However, he was already promoted to the intermediate class last year and is expected to reach the 8th level of physical training before the age of 17, and be promoted to the advanced class. Those who can be promoted to advanced classes are the elites of Qingyun City Martial Palace, who will receive key training and are also the dream places pursued by every student who enters the Martial Palace. There are many stone tablets in the Blackstone area, and Luo Xiu also chose an unused stone tablet and walked over. However, as soon as he arrived here, he caught the attention of some people. Who is that person? Surprisingly, he also came to the Blackstone area for cultivation. Isn't he also an expert in the intermediate class? Someone pointed to Luo Xiu and said, because the people who come here to practice on a daily basis are martial artists with a body weight of 6 or more. This person seems to be from the junior class. I heard he has recently gained a lot of attention and even played 2 intermediate classes body refining 5 levels in front of the library. Someone recognized Luo Xiu's identity. Ah! A guy from the junior class actually beat someone from the intermediate class. Some people who had never heard of Luo Xiu couldn't help but be curious. Without the strength of refining at least 6 levels, one cannot leave any trace on the black stone. Do you really think that defeating 2 refining at 5 levels makes you a master? Some people also looked at Luo Xiu's side with a mocking and disdainful expression. The voices of everyone's discussion also made Zhao Yang, who was practicing boxing, hear the commotion and look towards Luo Xiu. The Blackstone area is not a place where beginner class garbage can come, Zhao Yang said with a hint of arrogance and impoliteness. Luo Xiu didn't take it seriously and punched the black stone monument in front of him. This guy is so ignorant, let's see how he makes a fool of himself. Yes, does he think he's a master like brother Zhao Yang? Bang! The fist collided with the Blackstone monument, and the punch was powerful and heavy. Luo Xiu did not use any martial arts skills or internal energy enhancement. A shallow dent appeared on the stone tablet, not much different from the marks left by Zhao Yang's attack just now. Luo Xiu nodded secretly. Since the fusion of the life and death beads, he has rapidly improved not only in his cultivation, but also in his physical fitness, as if undergoing some kind of transformation and sublimation. His pure physical strength can be comparable to the 6-fold body refining. At the same time, the martial arts students who were preparing to see him embarrass and mock Luo Xiu suddenly seemed to have their throats stuck, their smiles frozen. Zhao Yang also furrowed his brow. In his eyes, the garbage in the junior class could achieve the same level as himself, which made him feel very embarrassed. He must have elevated his internal energy to the extreme just now, and then used his martial arts to leave a mark on the black stone steel. Not bad, I think so too. Otherwise, just relying on him as a junior class kid, how could he achieve this level? Are you right, brother Zhao Yang? Upon hearing someone ask him, Zhao Yang carried his hands behind his back and looked like a master guiding others, saying, "You're right. Even if I want to leave a mark on the Blackstone monument, I need to be blessed with inner energy. Brother Zhao Yang has said so. This Luo Xiu must have borrowed the power of martial arts to achieve this effect. What kind of skill is using martial arts? It's embarrassing." However, before these people could finish speaking, Luo Xiu punched the Blackstone monument again. This punch still did not show his martial arts skills, but it enhanced the inner energy of life and death. Boom. This punch was powerful and heavy, and even the solid black stone tablet shook slightly. A clear punch mark appeared on the black stone monument, causing a group of people not far away, including Zhao Liang, to stare blankly and unable to believe their own eyes. Chapter 7. Willing to gamble and accepting lose. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Luo Xiu's face showed a smile, and he was quite satisfied with the effect of his second punch. The 6th level realm martial artist can leave shallow marks on the black stone monument, but to achieve this effect, at least the 7th level realm martial artist can achieve it. This indicates that one's strength is already comparable to that of refining 7. Kid, showing off your martial arts skills here is not a skill. Don't try using your martial arts skills if you have the ability. Zhao Liang frowned and shouted, feeling that Luo Xiu's actions were undoubtedly stealing his own attention. Why should I listen to you? Luo Xiu gave the other person a faint glance. Humph, you dare not try, it proves that you don't have this ability. Since you don't have the ability, don't embarrass yourself here, Zhao Liang said forcefully. Yes, I don't know where I learned a powerful martial arts skill. What's there to show off about? Martial arts skills do not represent strength. Some people, with some skills, may flaunt their skills everywhere without realizing their superiority, which is really disgusting. Many other people nearby also agreed and looked contemptuous towards Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu laughed in silence, speechless about the logic of these martial arts students. Kid, why are you laughing? Zhao Liang snorted coldly. I laugh at you guys who think you're right, have high expectations, and laugh at others if you don't have the ability, Luo Xiu said disdainfully. Bold. Who do you think is incompetent? Zhao Liang's face turned cold, especially the disdain in Luo Xiu's eyes, which made his anger rise. The momentum of the 6 levels of physical cultivation realm made some people nearby feel suppressed. Whoever I say knows for themselves. Luo Xiu was not afraid of the other person's aura, and the same fluctuations of internal energy spread from her body. 5 levels of body refining. It seems like Luo Xiu was still practicing 4 levels of body refining a month ago, right? Not only that, I heard he only took a few days to go from refining body twice to refining body 4. It's been another month, and surprisingly, he has already refined body 5. I see this guy's sincerity is just showing off. He hit 2 people from the intermediate class in front of the library, indicating that he no longer values the people from our intermediate class. Luo Xiu was too lazy to pay attention to these guys who said grapes were sour because they couldn't eat grapes. He had planned to come here to practice Dragon and Tiger Fist, but when these guys stirred him up, he immediately lost his mood. Kid, you're very crazy. I heard that Zhang Hai planned to teach you a lesson last time, but later it was Teacher Lu who came forward to break through, otherwise you would have been abandoned long ago. Zhao Liang walked towards Luo Xiu with a sneer and said, You just said I'm not capable. Would you dare to gamble with me? What are you gambling on? Luo Xiu frowned. Of course, it's about comparing who can leave deeper marks on the black stone monument. Weren't you crazy just now, dare you compare? Zhao Liang said arrogantly and confidently. That's right, you junior class trash dare to show off. If you have the ability, just compare it to Zhao Liang. He's the only one who shows off his small skills everywhere. If he can win over Zhao Liang, I'll eat the black stone steel. The people nearby all started to coax, and their words were filled with undisguised ridicule and belittlement towards Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu has no interest in this boring competition, but he is also aware that if he refuses to compete with Zhao Liang, these guys will not know what kind of person they will describe him when they go out. His lips curved into a sneer and he said, How do you want to bet? Seeing that Luo Xiu actually agreed, Zhao Liang couldn't help but be taken aback. He immediately sneered in his heart, thinking that this kid really didn't know what to do. Hee, since you want to gamble, there must be some bets. I imagine you, a poor kid, can't afford anything. How about this? The loser kowtow to the winner and admit their mistake. Zhao Liang said, he was sure that Luo Xiu couldn't compare to himself. After all, he is practicing the 6th level of physical fitness and has also cultivated the 3rd level of martial arts. If he hits with all his might, he can definitely leave clear marks. But Luo Xiu was just a poor boy from a humble background, at most practicing 2nd level martial arts, and his cultivation level was lower than himself, so there was no reason why he could surpass himself. The commotion happening here has attracted many people to watch. It's said that someone is going to compete with Zhao Liang, and more people are rushing over. Luo Xiu didn't expect Zhao Liang to be so cunning. The bet was to kowtow and admit his mistake. If he really lost and kowtowed in front of everyone, he would never lift his head again in this lifetime. Whoever loses will kowtow and admit their mistake. This kid just said that others don't have the ability, but this time we need to see what he has. Well said, everyone present is a witness, I dare not deny it. Many people have a mentality of watching good movies, and this kind of thing is not uncommon among students in the martial arts hall. Okay, I agreed. Luo Xiu responded with one gulp. The other party was so aggressive, and he had no intention of being polite. He wanted Zhao Liang to taste the consequences of provoking him. At the same time, Luo Xiu also plans to use this matter to establish his authority. On the one hand, this can make some people afraid to trouble him, and on the other hand, the better he performs, the easier it is to attract the attention of the martial arts teacher and elders. Luo Xiu is well aware of his family background. It doesn't matter if he gets some disciples from a noble family in the martial arts hall. However, once he leaves the martial arts hall, some people will definitely retaliate against him recklessly. However, if he is valued by the martial arts hall, his identity will be completely different. Haha, kid, you're doomed. Zhao Liang burst out laughing wildly, his internal energy running, and suddenly shouted, "Open your eyes wide and see clearly." Luoguang fist. Zhao Liang's fists emitted a faint light. Generally, only by refining his body 7 times can his internal energy shine, indicating that his martial arts must be a high. Level 1, and his own cultivation is at least 3rd grade. Boom! The black stone monument shook for a moment, and a dull sound came out. Zhao Liang could be said to have exerted all his strength and left a clear fist mark on the monument. How impressive! The nearby onlookers exclaimed in surprise. I just saw Zhao Liang's fist emit a light of internal energy, which shows that his attack can be comparable to refining the 7 heavens body. Well, although it may not be comparable to the true 7 elements of body refining yet, it's not far behind. It seems that Zhao Liang's cultivation is also about to break through. People were shocked and envious of Zhao Liang's martial arts talent. In martial arts cultivation, talent is very important. For the same time and resources, some people who practice for 10 years may not be as good as a genius who practices for a year. Moreover, with the same martial arts skills, people with high talents are more likely to understand the mysteries and unleash greater power. At the age of 13, Zhao Liang was promoted to the intermediate class and was almost one of the designated members of the later advanced class. His talent for practicing martial arts is evident to all. Kid, it's your turn. Wait for me to kowtow and admit my mistake. Zhao Liang looked proudly at Luo Xiu. On the black stone monument, 2 punch marks are clearly visible, one is the punch mark that Luo Xiu had previously made, and the other is the punch mark that Zhao Liang had just made with all his might. However, Zhao Liang's punch mark is clearer and deeper than Luo Xiu's. Luo Xiu didn't speak. At this moment, even if he said something beautiful, it would be more convincing to speak with his strength. Tiger style. He let out a soft drink and suddenly moved, with the momentum of a fierce tiger descending the mountain, punching the Blackstone monument. Is this Dragon Tiger Fist? I heard that although this Dragon and Tiger Fist is a 2nd-level martial art, many people practice it for nothing without its essence. Seeing Luo Xiu's posture, it seems that he has already grasped the essence of it. Isn't it possible? Does this kid have such a high talent for practicing martial arts? Luo Xiu's performance has also caused a lot of amazement. Bang! The fierce tiger-style bombardment hit the black stone monument, and the fierce fist wind swept through, bringing up a patch of dust and imposing force. At this moment, everyone stared to see how powerful Luo Xiu's punch was. The next moment, there was silence all around. How could this be possible? When Zhao Liang saw the punch marks on the Blackstone monument, he was stunned and his mood sank to the bottom in an instant. Look, the punch mark left by Luo Xiu is in the form of a tiger's head, someone exclaimed in surprise. Is it really fake? Others were also curious and staring. Damn it, it's really the shape of a roaring tiger mouth. Oh my goodness, I didn't read it wrong, did I? I heard that only by understanding the essence of the dragon tiger fist's fierce tiger style can this effect be achieved. There are two types of dragon tiger fist, one of which is called Tinglong style. I don't know if he has completed it. The crowd exclaimed in amazement and admiration, and at this moment, everyone looked at Luo Xiu's gaze, no longer with disdain and ridicule, but with deep shock. Zhao Liang was also completely stunned. The marks he left on the black stone monument just now were not comparable to the tiger head fist marks left by Luo Xiu in the fierce style of the dragon tiger fist. This is impossible. Even a 7th-level martial artist cannot make such deep fist marks. Zhao Liang couldn't believe it, his lips trembling slightly. At this moment, many martial arts students who were still standing on Zhao Liang's side looked at him with a hint of pity in their eyes. It is clear which one is stronger or weaker in this gambling competition. Senior brother Zhao Liang, according to our previous gambling agreement, should you kowtow and admit your mistake now? Luo Xiu sneered. From the beginning, he didn't provoke Zhao Liang, but the other party felt that they had taken advantage of him and were aggressive. They even offered to kowtow and admit their mistake, determined that he would never lift his head. Zhao Liang is also very clear that if he really kowtow and admit his mistake today, even if he has the opportunity to become an elite in the advanced class in the future, he will inevitably become a laughingstock for everyone in the martial arts world. Young man surnamed Luo, don't go too far. Zhao Liang said with a slightly gloomy expression. Gambling is something you proposed, are you going to back out? Everyone can look at you. Luo Xiu sneered. The so-called insulter is always insulted by others. Luo Xiu knew very well that even if he let go of Zhao Liang today, the other party would not only not appreciate him, but also hold a grudge against him. If you practice martial arts well, it doesn't mean you're strong. It's best not to take any advantage. Zhao Liang's eyes showed a fierce expression. Yeah, since you have already won, why bother pushing each other so hard, Luo Xiu? Everyone is a student of the martial palace, looking down but not looking up. It's too much to make Zhao Liang kowtow and admit his mistake. Among the onlookers, some people who usually have a good relationship with Zhao Liang spoke up. With a hint of coldness in Luo Xiu's eyes, he scanned the few people who were speaking and sneered, if it were me who lost, would you let me go? These few people were swept away by Luo Xiu's gaze, and they couldn't help but take 2 steps back. In fact, everyone present was not stupid, but no one stood up to help Luo Xiu, but they didn't want to offend Zhao Liang. I've ruined you. When Luo Xiu was intimidating those few people, Zhao Liang standing opposite him suddenly made a move, with a fierce face. His arms were like 2 pythons, intertwined and entwined with each other, and his internal energy was running, with a strong and skillful force. This is another type of 3rd-grade martial arts technique, the double python fist. Although its power is not as strong as the Luo Guang fist, it is extremely fast and makes it difficult to defend against. He made up his mind that he could never kowtow and admit his mistake, but as long as he deposed Luo Xiu, even if he would be shameless, it would still be better than not being able to lift his head for a lifetime. Luo Xiu also didn't expect people like Zhao Liang to be so cunning and vicious. The opponent's attack hit his own waist, and if he was really hit, he would be disabled even if he didn't die. Tenglong style. With a furious shout, Luo Xiu activated his internal energy to the extreme, leaped up and avoided the key points. His arms extended, his body resembling a wandering dragon, and his fists carried the remnants towards Zhao Liang fiercely. Zhao Liang's face changed, completely surprised that Luo Xiu could evade his attack and even make a counterattack when he was in danger. He quickly changed his moves, and a faint light shone between his hands, showcasing his strongest martial arts skill, the Luo Guang fist. Bang! The fists of the two collided, and those around could feel the strong wind blowing on their cheeks, causing pain. Zhao Liang's body trembled, and a sharp pain came from his fist. His body was filled with qi and blood, and he almost vomited blood. Kneel down for me. At this moment, Luo Xiu reached out and grabbed it. Zhao Liang's first reaction was to block it, but his arms seemed to lose consciousness and he didn't listen. I saw Luo Xiu's palm constantly magnifying in his eyes and pressing against his forehead with a bang. A tremendous force added to the body, followed by severe pain in both legs and knees, but it was kicked by Luo Xiu's toes, with a thud, and he knelt directly on the ground. A man should have integrity and be willing to gamble and accept defeat. Luo Xiu remained expressionless and directly pressed Zhao Liang's head, smashing it to the ground with a loud bang. The pain on his body was far less than the sense of shame that filled his heart. Zhao Liang was extremely angry and spewed out blood, fainting on the spot. Chapter 8. Great Achievements in Body Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The whole room was once again in silence, and no one would have thought that the final outcome would be like this. Luo Xiu's gaze swept over everyone present, then he let out a cold snort and walked away. The crowd automatically gave way to a passage, and no one dared to block the road in front of Luo Xiu at this moment. Luo Xiu from this junior class is simply a freak. I heard that some people practice martial arts and develop Tianfen later, but they accumulate knowledge and improve their strength quickly. He just glanced at everyone with a warning in mind. Brothers, be careful in the future and don't offend this kid. Zhao Liang is completely finished. This time, he was completely sent to his door by Luo Xiu and used to establish his authority. Many people have been discussing it, but they have to admit the strength demonstrated by Luo Xiu, because in the martial arts world, strong strength is the fundamental foundation for standing and gaining the respect of others. Leaving the Blackstone area, Luo Xiu did not return to his residence, but entered a bamboo forest. There are several wide open spaces in the bamboo forest, each with wooden stakes driven into it. They are both high and low, long and short, and the distance between each stake is not the same, making them complex and intertwined. Students in the martial arts hall often choose this place to practice body techniques. Luo Xiu jumped up and landed on a wooden stake, where he could see the traces of time on each stake. Every year, the martial arts hall would recruit new students, and groups of young people who longed for martial arts were not afraid of difficulties, practicing martial arts here. Only by enduring hardships can one become a good person. When Luo Xiu was very young, his father told him this truth. In the first class of the year when he first entered the martial arts hall, the teacher also taught everyone this truth. The meridian movement root of the second-level body method, inch step, comes to mind, and while deducing and improving it through the life meridian diagram, Luo Xiu's figure also instantly moves on the wooden stake. Pop. Lightly tiptoed, his figure rose and fell from the low stake onto the high stake. At first, his figure was slower and needed to be familiar with the rhythm of his body movements, but later on, it became faster and faster. Pop it. Suddenly, he took a wrong step because the distance between each wooden stake was different. When the speed was slow, he could grasp it cleverly, but once the speed became faster, it was easy to make mistakes. After falling off the wooden stake, Luo Xiu jumped up again and rehearsed his body movements. Unconsciously, time passed like this, and he was immersed in the practice of body techniques, almost forgetting himself. In addition to internal skills, there are 4 levels of martial arts and body methods, namely beginner level, minor achievement, major achievement, and perfection. Even in second-level martial arts, if one can cultivate to the level of minor achievement, it can be comparable to the entry-level of third-level martial arts. In the level of major achievement, it can be comparable to minor achievement, and in the level of perfection, it can also be comparable to the great achievement of third-level martial arts. So, unless it is at the same level of realm, the higher the level of martial arts, the stronger the power will be. However, if one can cultivate lower-level martial arts to a higher level, they can also defeat the strong with weakness, which is not difficult. Dragon and Tiger Fist was bestowed upon Luo Xiu with a super understanding through the Life and Death Pearl, reaching a great level of mastery. However, Zhao Yang practiced 2 third-level martial arts, but his mastery was not even at the beginner's level, so he could not be his opponent. For the next half-month, Luo Xiu immersed himself in asceticism, practicing martial arts and body methods during the day, and practicing internal skills in the room at night to improve his cultivation. During this period, every student who will participate in the annual assessment is putting in all their efforts for their future prospects. Zhang Hai has not made any progress during this period. It seems that he recently purchased a nourishing pill with a lot of money, intending to break through to the 8th level of body refining. That morning, Luo Xiu woke up from his state of cultivation, muttering to himself in his heart. His cultivation and strength are steadily improving, and his opponents are also improving, and Zhang Hai's cultivation conditions are better than him. As the cultivation of martial arts progresses, it becomes increasingly difficult, so external objects are needed to assist in accelerating the speed of cultivation in order to break through the limit within a limited lifespan. It is said that if one's martial arts cultivation can reach the innate realm, they can surpass the limits of mortals and have a lifespan of 300 years. Before being born, even martial artists in the Qi-Si realm were just ordinary people who were stronger than ordinary people. It seems that I need to improve faster. As the time for the annual assessment approached, Luo Xiu not only had no worries, but also became more determined in his heart. The cultivation of Dragon and Tiger Fist has steadily improved, although it is still a great achievement, it is not far from perfection. Only the improvement of the body technique inch step was the slowest, so Luo Xiu added difficulty to himself. He brought some thorns covered with sharp thorns and laid them on the wooden stake area for practicing the body technique. This way, if he made a mistake, he would fall and be scratched and stabbed by the thorns. Not only that, he also sharpened each wooden stake even finer, forcing himself to exceed his limits. His crazy practice of martial arts has recently caught the attention of many students in the martial arts hall. Initially, it was spread by students who have been practicing body techniques here. A group of people gathered not far away to watch Luo Xiu practice his body movements on a slender wooden stake. His clothes were torn and tattered, with scars everywhere. On the thorns below, there were also bloodstains everywhere, and the spikes and hooks were shiny black. Isn't this guy dying anymore? No wonder his strength has improved so quickly. It's hard not to improve even if you work so hard to cultivate like this. Anyone who has come to see Luo Xiu practice martial arts is full of shock, and some people from the same impoverished background are encouraged to work hard and strive for self-improvement. On the wooden stake, Luo Xiu had already reached the pinnacle of Xiaocheng in his practice of the inch-step body method, but he vaguely felt that there was still one step away from Deshang. He closed his eyes and quickly moved on the wooden stake, sometimes charging forward, sometimes moving sideways, sometimes retreating quickly, his body movements erratic, not just a routine practice. If the martial arts and body techniques are practiced according to the routine, even if they are well versed in the heart, they are at most beginners. Only by understanding the essence and artistic conception, and grasping the essentials, can one enter the realm of small success. To achieve great success and even perfection, one needs not only hard work and understanding, but also opportunities. Sometimes, with a flash of spiritual light, one may be able to seize a first-line opportunity, break through the limits of their martial arts cultivation, and reach a higher level. There is no shortcut to practicing martial arts. While talent and aptitude are important, the heart of martial arts and opportunities are equally important. In the past, I was confused and didn't know what martial arts were, but since the fusion of the life and death pearl, Luo Xiu has truly entered the realm of martial arts. Although his cultivation is still low, he has already developed a martial arts spirit. De Cheng. On the wooden stake, Luo Xiu's figure suddenly stopped moving. The wind moved, the clouds moved, the sky and earth moved, but only I remained still. He suddenly opened his eyes, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, jumped up, and then drifted away, disappearing from everyone's sight. His speed is so fast, has his body method reached the level of Shaoqing. It is said that Luo Xiu selected 3 second-level martial arts from the library, namely Yi-Jin Forging Bone Skill, Long Hu Fist, and Cun Bu. The Yi-Jin Forging Bone technique doesn't really matter, but Dragon and Tiger Fist, and Inch Step, are known to be the most difficult to cultivate in second-level martial arts. I don't know how many candidates have been selected, and even getting started is difficult, let alone Xiaocheng. It seems that last time Luo Xiu and Zhao Yang started fighting, the Dragon and Tiger Fist he displayed could rival the third-level martial arts skills of Xiaocheng, indicating that his Dragon and Tiger Fist is bound to be a great success. People are discussing and speculating about Luo Xiu's current strength. The Dragon and Tiger Fist of the Desheng realm is obvious to all, but body methods are more difficult to cultivate than martial arts. People think that the possibility of Desheng is not high, at most reaching the Xiaocheng realm. Despite this, it also surprised everyone. Dragon and Tiger Fist has achieved great success, but every step is small. Even with a cultivation level of 5 levels of physical cultivation, the overall strength can compete with that of 7 levels of physical cultivation. The 7th level of body refining is already comparable to the top experts in the intermediate class. This kid is really impressive. No matter how hard he tries, it is impossible for him to defeat Zhang Hai, because Zhang Hai is about to pass the level and his cultivation will inevitably step into the 8th level of physical cultivation. This year's assessment will allow him to enter the advanced class. Anyone who can enter the advanced class is the elite of the martial palace, and Zhao Liang and Zhang Hai are completely different levels. The Zhang family is also a powerful force in Qinyan City. What did Luo Xiu think at first? That he was against the people of the Zhang family. Although Luo Xiu's recent performance has been more and more unexpected, no one would believe that he can defeat Zhang Hai, who has refined his body 8 times. After completing all his martial arts and body techniques, Luo Xiu returned to his residence. Relatively speaking, my cultivation improvement has been slow. In the room, Luo Xiu furrowed his brows. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 5th level of physical cultivation, but he was unable to break through to the 6th level. The cultivation of martial arts is difficult step by step, with a 9-fold realm, which also means it is comparable to climbing the 9-fold sky, and each step is even more difficult. The hardships and difficulties of practicing martial arts are far from easy to describe, especially during the recent period of hard cultivation. Luo Xiu can be said to have a deep understanding of it. To reach my current level of cultivation, it is necessary to use some auxiliary means to accelerate the speed of improvement. Otherwise, although cultivation can also be improved, it will take too long. In the cultivation of internal skills, Luo Xiu has never been more than half lax, but relying solely on the exercise of techniques to absorb the vitality of heaven and earth, the growth rate of internal energy is very slow. The most common auxiliary methods for martial arts cultivation are elixirs and formations, which correspond to the first-grade elixirs of martial arts practitioners in the refining realm. They are also the most commonly used means, and compared to them, formations are even more expensive. But Luo Xiu was very aware of his own conditions. The family relied on his father every month and only had 20 to 30 taels of silver, while a 1-grade qi nourishing pill could cost hundreds or even thousands of taels of silver. For example, Zhang Hai broke through the 8 levels of body cultivation in this seclusion by taking the nourishing qi pill. The consumption of a single seclusion would not make an ordinary family so much money in a lifetime. Luo Xiu was very clear that if he didn't find any way, he would break through to the Qi Si realm and become a true warrior, and he didn't know what year and month it would take. A month later, in the annual assessment, Luo Xiu did not pay much attention to it. Even in the competition with Zhang Hai, he did not care because his goals had already been set for a longer period of time. Many martial artists pursue only breaking through to the Qi Si realm throughout their lives, with slightly broader goals, hoping to become innate martial artists. But Luo Xiu was not satisfied. He fused the life and death beads and had various unique conditions. If he couldn't make achievements in martial arts, he would be too sorry for himself. It's time to do something. Luo Xiu squinted his eyes and had some calculations in his heart. Chapter 9 Hunters. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Qinyun City covers a large area with a population of hundreds of thousands. The martial arts hall is located in the center of the city, and there are many facilities for practicing martial arts, which also occupy a large area. The purpose of the martial palace is to cultivate young warriors, discover outstanding talents, and use them for the court and sect. Under normal circumstances, students from the martial palace will not go out unless they are students who already reside in Qinyun City. Warriors hold a crucial position in this world, and in fact, there are many ways to make money. For example, an alchemist is a very profitable profession. When a spiritual medicine worth hundreds of taels reaches the hands of an alchemist, it transforms into a pill and its value doubles several times. There are also array mages, and various auxiliary cultivation, attack, and defense arrays are also expensive. Foundry master, a weapon used by crafting warriors, highly sought after by countless martial arts practitioners. These 3 professions are undoubtedly the most profitable among warriors, but not everyone can achieve them. Firstly, they are talents, secondly, inheritance, and the guidance of famous teachers. As far as Luo Xiu knew, there were also several students from extraordinary families in the martial arts palace who studied alchemy, formations, and casting. Their monthly expenses amounted to tens of thousands of taels, which was astronomical for him. But besides these 3 professions, other warriors who want a way out also have a popular profession, hunter. There are countless wild and demonic beasts in the deep mountains and rivers. These creatures are naturally strong and blessed, and some of their materials have their own uses and extraordinary value. The hunting profession also emerged from this. In addition to hunting wild and demonic beasts, spiritual medicine, precious materials, minerals and other treasures can also be found in the deep mountains and great rivers, which are all good things that alchemists, formation mages, and forge masters need. There is a hunter guild in Qinyun City. To become a junior hunter, the minimum requirement is to cultivate 5 levels of body. In the past, Luo Xiu's strength was too weak, so he never considered taking this path. But in order to improve his cultivation strength faster, the only way he can choose is to become a hunter. Hunters can accept various tasks from guilds and obtain revenge after completing them. They can also freely team up to go hunting and dispose of the obtained items themselves or sell them to guilds. Some powerful hunters earn no less than those of those 3 special professions. The Hunter Guild is located in the bustling city area, which is also the most bustling area in the entire Qinyun City. On the tall buildings, there is a symbol of a double sword crossing. Luo Xiu was also here for the first time, and the hall was very spacious. Many warriors were holding swords, with strong qi and blood, and were talking loudly. Many experts. In Luo Xiu's eyes, the life course of these warriors was fully visible, and through the breadth of the life course, he could distinguish the strength of these people. He discovered a large number of martial artists with 8 or 9 levels of body refining skills, and here he gathered them one by one. Like him, a kid with 5 levels of body refining skills, he was just a novice and a martial artist in the Qi-Si realm. Luo Xiu also saw several of them. At the age of 13, Luo Xiu's face still appeared slightly immature, so when he came here, he immediately attracted a lot of attention. Haha, kid, look at your delicate skin and tender flesh. This is the Hunter Guild, have you gone to the wrong place? A martial artist with 9 levels of refinement pointed at Luo Xiu and laughed, wearing a badge with 2 crossed swords on his chest, which was a symbol of his identity as a hunter. I think it should be a student from the martial palace who wants to apply for a hunter badge so that they can show off to other classmates. Hee, isn't it so easy to get the hunter's badge? I think this kid will definitely fail, maybe even his life will be revealed inside. Not necessarily, maybe this kid can pass. Zhu Laoba, do you want to make a bet? Luo Xiu ignored these people, but in this environment, he could feel the boldness, unrestrained, and free-spirited nature of being a martial arts practitioner. Every hunter here lives a life of licking blood on the blade, with a fierce and ominous aura. However, Luo Xiu is not only fearless, but also somewhat eager. Perhaps there is a paranoid passion and madness in my bones, perhaps this is the life I truly want. Luo Xiu clenched his fist and walked towards a counter in the hunter's hall. The receptionist of Luo Xiu was a woman with a graceful figure, with a professional smile on her face. However, when she saw Luo Xiu's immature face, she couldn't help but be taken aback. But she quickly recovered and smiled, "This little brother, may I ask if there is anything I can help you with?" Little brother. Luo Xiu's expression was slightly awkward, but the issue of age was not something he could control. "Hello, I would like to apply to become a hunter," Luo Xiu said. "What?" The receptionist hesitated for a moment. "Little brother, are you sure you want to apply to become a hunter?" Without hesitation, Luo Xiu nodded and added, "My name is Luo Xiu." Seeing Luo Xiu's slightly flushed cheeks, the beautiful receptionist couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckle lightly. "Okay, Luo Xiu little brother." Damn it. The mischievous reception from the beautiful woman made Luo Xiu roll his eyes uncontrollably. "Huh, I said Shanshan, you won't be interested in this kid, will you?" Shanshan is the first beautiful woman in our Qingyun City Hunter branch. Those who want to pursue her can line up from the south to the north of the city, and from the east to the west of the city. Isn't it because they like the tender grass? Don't, Shanshan. This kid has thin arms and short legs. Where can I be as sturdy and reliable as him? Many familiar hunters in the hall joked. This beautiful woman named Shanshan couldn't help but blush when these guys talked about her reception. She cast a white eye and lifted her vermilion lips lightly, saying, "If you want to become the man of my Jiang Shanshan, wait until you become a 4-star hunter." Oh my goodness, 4-star hunter. It seems like I won't have a chance in my life. Many hunters pounded their chests and feet, laughing and frolicking. Hey, I want to apply to become a hunter. Luo Xiu patted the table, feeling ignored. Luo Xiu's actions made the hunters in the hall burst into laughter again. Jiang Shanshan also looked at Luo Xiu with a smile on her face, and said seriously, "Brother Luo Xiu, applying for a hunter is not a joke. For your personal safety, I hope you can think carefully before making a decision." What? Becoming a hunter is very dangerous? Luo Xiu asked in surprise. Haha, this kid is not just a rookie, but also the best among rookies. He doesn't even know the most basic rules. Young man, go home and have some milk. Hunters are not easy to be. From the comments of nearby hunters, Luo Xiu learned that in order to become a hunter, it is not enough just to meet the conditions for cultivation, but also to undergo assessment. During the assessment process, there may be certain dangers, as there is insufficient strength and courage. Even a martial artist who cultivates 7 levels of physical fitness may not be able to pass the assessment. I want to participate in the assessment, Luo Xiu said firmly after understanding. Quiet. The entire hall of the Hunter Guild suddenly fell silent. "Kid, don't you have a fever?" Ever since a student in the intermediate class of Wujian failed and died in the assessment 3 years ago, except for some students in the advanced class who have passed the assessment with a physical fitness level of 8 or above, don't you understand? Yeah, Luo Xiu, you're still young. You can wait a few years for the assessment, the beautiful receptionist Jiang Shanshan also advised. This time she didn't address Luo Xiu's little brother, and her expression became even more serious. And more hunters, on the other hand, have indifferent expressions. They have seen life and death more often and have already become accustomed to it. There are not many truly heartwarming people. The hunter's assessment is not about cultivation, but about practical combat ability. You are facing a first-level monster, not a wild beast. Jiang Shanshan advised again. I have made up my mind. Luo Xiu's gaze was firm. This kid has such backbone, let him give it a try, said a burly man after taking a big sip of wine. Zhou Long, shut up, you'll kill him. Jiang Shanshan glared at the strong man. As long as the conditions are met, the guild should have no reason to refuse my assessment application, right? Luo Xiu tapped the table with his finger. Besides, are you so sure that I'm going to be assessed and dying? Haha, the young man is quite stubborn, I like him. The strong man named Zhou Long burst out laughing, if you pass the assessment, I'll let you join my team. Joke, can a kid who hasn't grown enough hair pass the assessment? If he passes, I'll turn my head off and kick him like a ball. On the other side, a man with a slightly bearded face sneered. Zhou Long, dare you make this bet, said the man with a slight beard loudly. Damn it, Guohu, what do you mean? Zhou Long glared and roared. In Luo Xiu's perception of the context of life, Zhou Long and Guohu, whose cultivation should both be in a state of qi. These two individuals clashed over their own assessment issues, which caught him off guard. But no matter what, becoming a hunter is imperative for Luo Xiu, because whether accepting tasks or buying and selling items in guilds, one must be a hunter. Under Luo Xiu's repeated insistence, Jiang Shanshan took out several pieces of paper, one of which was a form for applying for assessment, with her corresponding information to be filled in. The other pieces of paper were a contract, which roughly meant that the person applying for assessment would not be responsible for any accidents that occurred during the assessment. Luo Xiu did not hesitate. He believed that with his own strength, he could definitely pass the assessment. Otherwise, if he could not even pass this level of test, how could he reach a higher level of martial arts in the future? With a stroke of his pen, Luo Xiu signed his name, and then a receptionist from the Hunter Guild took Luo Xiu to the assessment venue. I bet this kid won't pass the assessment. In the hall, Guohu patted the table and shouted, Zhou Long, dare you bet. Both of them have a small team, and they don't usually look at each other eye to eye and often confront each other head-on. With so many people present, Zhou Long was also a bit angry when he saw his old rival Guo Beard so arrogant. He stood up and kicked the stool away, angrily saying, I bet you. Chapter 10. Practical Assessment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Young people are impulsive, come with me. The old man wearing a white robe took Luo Xiu to the assessment site. Luo Xiu saw two badges on the old man's chest, one was a hunter's badge with two crossed swords, and the other was a badge engraved with a six-pointed star formation. Master of Formation Badge. Luo Xiu was slightly surprised in his heart. Obviously, the identity of this old man was not simple. He had a dual identity, seemingly old, but in fact, the veins of his life contained strong vitality and hidden powerful power. Walking along the passage, with torches hanging on both sides and a stone door pushed open, Luo Xiu followed the old man to a spacious room. The floor of this room is interwoven with some strange patterns, connected vertically and horizontally like ghost symbols, looking without any pattern. In the center of the room, there is a raised stone platform that is about 2 feet high. Before Luo Xiu could ask, the old man in the white robe spoke up, "This is where the assessment is. If you don't pass the assessment, remember to pay the cost of starting the formation." Cost. Luo Xiu's expression froze. Do you think the formation is opened casually? The assessment of a first-level hunter requires a vitality stone. If you pass, the cost will be borne by the Hunter Guild. If you fail, you will have to pay the cost of a vitality stone, explained the old man in white robes. Luo Xiu has heard of Yuanqi stone, which is a highly condensed mineral of heaven and earth's elemental energy. Martial artists can directly absorb the elemental energy inside for cultivation, and the effect is more significant than swallowing the thin elemental energy between heaven and earth. How much is 1 yuan of vitality stone? Luo Xiu regretted not taking a good look at the contract given by the beauty reception earlier, so he didn't know that there was still a fee to pay. 500 taels of silver. Shoo, so expensive. Luo Xiu was startled, and this money was undoubtedly astronomical for him. The old man in the white robe looked up at Luo Xiu and smiled, "If you're not sure, you still have time to quit now." The cost of 500 taels of silver made Luo Xiu have to consider it, so he asked, "I want to know the specific assessment content." Dare to come over without even knowing what the assessment content is. What kind of place is the Hunter Guild for you, kid? How dare you act recklessly? The old man in the white robe immediately blew his beard and glared, "For the sake of your young age, I won't argue with you, old man. Go back and practice well." Although the other party spoke rudely, Luo Xiu did not get angry. After all, he did have little knowledge about the assessment of hunters. Just now in the hall, I learned some from those other hunters, as if they were going to fight a level 1 monster head-on, but where is the monster in this room? Seeing Luo Xiu looking around, the old man in a white robe said calmly, "After activating the formation, the monster beasts will appear. The assessment for a first-level hunter is to independently kill 3 first-level monster beasts. Monsters are different from wild beasts. The lowest level monster has strength comparable to that of human body refining 5th-level martial artists. But true strength still needs to be presented through combat. Even martial artists who have 5 levels of body refining and no combat experience are far from opponents of monsters. Is it a level 1 monster with 3 heads? I should be able to." Luo Xiu spoke up. The old man in the white robe didn't say much and pointed to the stone platform in the middle of the room. "You can just stand on it," he said. Luo Xiu nodded and walked over to stand on the stone platform. "After I activate the formation, you will enter the environment formed within the formation, and everything you encounter is basically no different from reality. If you feel that you can't hold on, it's best not to hold on. As long as you think about it, you can break free from the formation within 3 breaths, said the old man in the white robe. 3 breaths may seem brief, but in a life-and-death battle, many things can happen. Many people who have died or been injured during the assessment are also caused during this short period of time. Let's start." Luo Xiu took a deep breath and adjusted his state to the best. The old man in a white robe flipped his hand and took out a stone that emitted a faint white light, about the size of a palm. He walked to a depression in the formation pattern and placed the vitality stone inside. Buzz! A faint light shone on the array patterns on the floor of the room, and then all the brilliance converged towards the stone platform where Luo Xiu was located. Immediately afterwards, Luo Xiu felt the situation before him constantly changing, the environment changing, and he appeared in a cage-like chamber of secrecy. Roar! With a flash of white light, 3 ferocious monsters appeared more than 10 meters away from him. It has gray fur and crimson eyes, similar to wild wolves, but much larger in size. Its claws are sharp like knives, and its fangs sparkle with coldness. Iron-backed demon wolf. Although Luo Xiu had never seen any demon beasts, he still had some knowledge from books, and from the characteristics, he could see the origin of this demon beast. This low-level demon wolf is known as the Iron Back, which means their backbones are as hard as iron stones. No lifeline. Luo Xiu frowned as he gazed intently, only to find that the three iron-backed demon wolves had no vital veins in their bodies and were completely formed by the condensation of their elemental energy. This is naturally due to the formation, which cannot perfectly transform real life. Luo Xiu frowned because in this environment, he was unable to use his ability to damage the veins of life. Facing the three iron-backed demon wolves, Luo Xiu was not nervous, and even slightly excited. He licked his lips and made a posture of about to attack, muttering to himself, "It doesn't matter if I'm restricted. Only then can I demonstrate my true strength." Ow! At this moment, the three iron-backed demon wolves had already rushed towards him, with a very fierce momentum. Although the formation cannot deduce the complete life form, it can demonstrate the habits, attack methods, and other aspects of this monster. Well done. Luo Xiu's footsteps moved slightly, and De Cheng's inch-by-inch body technique was almost instinctive, directly avoiding the attacks of the two iron-backed demon wolves. Dragon Tiger Fist Fierce Tiger Style. His hand movements did not stop, and his internal energy was infused into his fists, smashing towards the abdomen of the third demon wolf. Monsters also know how to avoid their vital points during battles. This demon wolf suddenly crawled down, exposing its strongest defense back to Luo Xiu's attack. Bang! This demon wolf was directly thrown out by Luo Xiu with a punch, and then its body exploded into a white light in mid-air. Although known as the Ironback with the strongest spinal defense, Luo Xiu's Dragon and Tiger Fist in the Great Perfection realm can be compared to the full force of the sevenfold martial arts disciple in body refining. Coupled with the destructive power of the Death Chi, it can achieve a one-punch kill. However, Luo Xiu also felt uncomfortable. The strong rebound made his right fist skull seem to have broken, causing immense pain. At this moment, the other two iron-backed demon wolves rushed forward again fearlessly, with a bloody wind blowing in their faces. The vitality of life. The internal energy of the two extremes of life and death transforms its attributes within the body, and a strong vitality rushes towards the fist, repairing the veins of life and quickly healing broken bones. As he unfolded his body movements, Luo Xiu easily avoided the attacks of the two iron-backed demon wolves. Tinglong Style. The internal qi is transformed into two streams in the body, one is transformed into the qi of life to repair the veins of life, and the other is transformed into the qi of death to use martial arts to kill enemies. Boom! Another iron-backed demon wolf shattered into white light, and its head was punched by Luo Xiu. The first-level monster is just like that. Luo Xiu squinted his eyes and stared at the last remaining demon wolf, his mouth curved slightly, and he muttered to himself, "It can be used to hone my step-by-step body technique." The iron-backed demon wolf pounced, but this time Luo Xiu did not forcefully kill him. Instead, he carried his hands behind his back and used his every-step body technique to evade the attack of the demon wolf. The attack of the demon wolf is fast, with continuous attacks, bites, and claws, with almost no pause in frequency. But Luo Xiu's movements were faster. After half an hour, the iron-backed demon wolf couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes. It's really boring. It seems that if I want to continue improving my body skills, this level of training alone is not enough. Exercising body methods for half an hour, although more effective than simply practicing with wooden stakes, is not very obvious and has made little progress. Bang! With a heavy punch, the iron-backed demon wolf had just pounced and had no time to react. Its hard skull was shattered by Luo Xiu's punch, and the demon wolf disappeared, turning into white light scattered around. Get out. After passing the assessment, Luo Xiu spoke up to the surroundings. The surroundings began to change, and after 3 breaths, Luo Xiu withdrew from the formation and remained standing on the stone platform, seemingly never moving. As soon as Luo Xiu came out, he saw the old man in a white robe who had brought him for assessment. He saw the other person looking at him with a surprised expression. "Good kid, I took a glance at you, old man. Your strength is comparable to the 7th level of physical training. The old man in the white robe said, the formation here was arranged by him, so he can see all the experiences of Luo Xiu in the formation environment. Luo Xiu scratched his head with some embarrassment, unsure of what to say. But don't be arrogant or complacent, young man. Even in this Qingyun city, even in the entire Yunlong County, practicing the 5 levels of physical fitness is not a big deal. You still have a long way to go, the old man in the white robe said with a smile. Remember the teachings of your predecessors, Luo Xiu said. Alright, you can go to the hall to collect the hunter's badge. The old man in white signed a name on Luo Xiu's application assessment and handed the application form to Luo Xiu. Zhuang Nantian. Luo Xiu saw the signature on it and knew it must be the name of the old man in a white robe. Half an hour has passed, it seems that the kid must have failed the assessment. Maybe he's already dead inside. Even if you're not dead, having a broken arm or missing leg is still common in assessments. In the hall, people and horses were facing each other, and the people on Guo Hu's side all had a determined expression. On the other hand, the people on Zhou Long's side had a gloomy expression on their faces. They had just decided to take Luo Xiu's application for assessment as a gamble, and the bet on both sides was a full 1,000 taels of silver. 1,000 taels of silver is not a small amount for a martial artist in the Qi-Si realm. It takes 10.5 days and a month of hard work to earn it. But what matters most to Zhou Long is not silver, but face. Among the hunters in Qingyun City, he is also a somewhat famous figure. Guo Hu, don't be complacent either. If you really pass the assessment, I see where else your dog face can go. Zhou Long snorted. I still said that, if he really can pass, I'll turn my head off and kick him as a ball. Guo Beard roared without showing any weakness. Here we go, here we go. At this moment, someone reached out and pointed to the passage leading to the assessment area. Everyone followed the sound and saw Luo Xiu walking towards the counter with the application form in his hand. Pop. In front of everyone, Luo Xiu walked to the counter, clapped the application form in his palm, and stared at Jiang Shanshan with a smile. Little brother, you didn't seem to have suffered any injuries from your appearance. Did you just give up and didn't participate in the assessment? Jiang Shanshan looked at Luo Xiu and said with a smile. I said, beautiful woman, what if I passed the assessment? Luo Xiu also smiled. In fact, he knew that Jiang Shanshan had advised him before for his own good. He just thought that this woman was quite interesting, perhaps due to the influence of the atmosphere in the Hunter Guild Hall, his personality also relaxed a lot. The people and horses on both sides of Zhou Long and Guo Hu were also paying attention to the movements here, and were eager to know the final outcome. Jiang Shanshan gave Luo Xiu a white eye, pointed her fingers at her vermilion lips, and smiled, saying, little brother, it's not my sister who said you. The chance of a 5th-level martial arts disciple passing the assessment is less than 10%. If you can really pass the assessment, how about I chase you back, sister? Puff. Many drinkers in the hall were stunned when they heard this sentence and spewed it out. Damn it, why didn't I have such good luck to let Shanshan Beauty chase me back? It's unreasonable. Does Shanshan really like this kid, like younger ones? He *****, I curse this kid for not passing the assessment. The people in the hall also followed suit and said, kid, hurry up, have you ever passed? Luo Xiu chuckled and took his palm away from the application form. Beauty, remember what you just said, he said. Everyone's gaze fell on the application form in unison, with 2 eye catching, pass, words, making the entire hall quiet and audible.